everybody. Welcome, friends.
Hi, guys.
Hi, it's me and Tayvia today. Some of you remember Tayvia from one of our very first episodes, actually. And she is my best friend and my roommate. And we talk for 50,000 hours all the time. So we felt like, why not invite you guys to hang out?
That's what we're going to do. Talk your ear off. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And she is also a mod. So maybe you guys saw her in the chat as Tayvia Sami. She is our mod. So let's give mod love.
Mod love.
Mod love. So yeah, we have some interesting subjects that we're going to talk about tonight. We're probably going to ramble and probably end up talking about a whole bunch of random shit. But we are going to start with some spooky stories. So me and Tayvia have had a lot of similar experiences and a lot of unique experiences. And we've even experienced a lot of stuff together, which is super cool. So, there's a lot of stories to tell.
A lot of stories.
There's a lot of stories. And on our first show, we talked about your dream world and a lot of the really interesting stuff that you deal with in your dream world since you were a kid. So, what I kind of wanted to do here is I want to start off with some of the earliest spooky experiences that you've had, and they might tie into the dreams, which is totally cool. Okay. But I'm curious, what was in your recollection, what would you say the earliest like spooky, potentially supernatural type of thing was?
It was seeing my guides, which Sami knows about, but I have certain things that when I was younger used to be more vivid. Where I felt like they were actually there. I could actually see them vividly. Kind of doled out as I got older. A little bit of that was intentional as well as just aging. But seeing my guide, Father Time, I call him Father Time because he's like super gigantically tall. He wears a black cloak, and he has a little... what do you call it? Hourglass. There you go. Hourglass on his neck.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. And he really scared me when I was a kid. And that was probably the earliest, like, seeing things that made me aware that I wasn't alone.
What was it about seeing him that scared you? Was it just the shocking factor of having something that you're not expecting right there? Or was it anything about the energy that he seemed to be kind of...
Not the energy. He's all love. He is like wizard energy. Very wise, and like he reminds me of tree bark in the way that he feels, if that makes sense. Okay. Like warm and earthy and just, watching over me. And I still feel like I see him sometimes.
But you physically saw him, like physically.
Yes, when I was a kid for years. For years I would see him, and I would see him with like a little goblin creature, and then he always had some kind of little lady on his shoulder, which I now say is a fairy. And they would stand in the corner of my room in the shadows, and it fucking freaked me out because I didn't know what to think, about that.
Yeah, it's definitely jarring for a young kid.
Yeah.
How old were you around the time? You first saw,
4 or 5.
Little teeny tiny.
I was tiny. Yeah, so that scared me, and I think that if I had a better adult guide in my life, that I would have not been as scared. Because when I would tell my mom about it, she would always tell me it was in my head, and that scared me even more and made me feel like I was crazy, and her intention was like, I think I was scaring her, telling her I was seeing things, and I think she was trying to tell me that it's okay, it's just your imagination, and... Which
is like a normal parental move with kids that have
fucked
imaginary friends and things, Yeah, I can understand not feeling like being invalidated for the experience that you're having just because you were a kid.
Mm-hmm. And I think that not only scared me more about, like, myself and made me... It was, like, the first memory I have of questioning my own sanity, so... It did that as well as, like, they never talked to me at the time, but they were always very nice. Like, sometimes I would say out loud, like, I need you to go away, and I'd cover my little face up with my blanket, and they would. They always went away. And it's when I started really doing, like, ritualistic speaking out loud to clear a space, too. Because I would go into my room, and before bed, I would say out loud when no one was around, like, I don't want to see you tonight. Please don't come and see me, And
good for
they
you
would not
for holding those boundaries as a little person.
Well, it was always my thing, was the boundaries.
That's good.
So, They would always listen, though. They never did anything malicious, and I don't see any of the other ones as vividly. Not that I don't believe that they're not there, but I still see Father Time sometimes. But it's mostly shadow in my peripheral. It's never the way that it felt when I was a kid. Like, where I could see a person there, and I kept, like, covering my eyes and opening them, and there was still somebody there. So it freaked me out.
Were you getting messages from, like, telepathic or energy messages or anything?
No, they're just watching.
Just watching.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe if I was further along in my practice, like today, maybe I would be able to. But at that time, I think that it was kind of my introduction to, like, don't forget this is who you are. And they were just watching over me. I also wonder, too, with my night terrors that I would have as a kid, if they were making sure that I was safe when I was sleeping, because I really do think my night terrors were real, like, interdimensional stuff.
Yeah.
So
it definitely sounds like it, you know, to have that extreme reactions to things. And finding out later as you grew up that you were sensitive anyway, it kind of would make sense that there was some kind of, like, dark stuff happening, and maybe they were just sitting around watching, trying to help you hold that space when you were sleeping.
And I do think they were, like, you know, like, Father Time is always, he is very dear to me, and he's one of the few things that I, you know, I play with energetically that causes me to feel safe, and he's one of the few energetic beings that I allow in my space at all times. Like, probably one of the only ones that I even let in there when I'm sleeping and stuff. Like, at nighttime when I go to bed, I do my clearing of space energy ritual where it's like, okay, anything that I played with today or whatever, you have to go away. Because I feel like I leave my body when I'm dreaming, and, you know, I don't want anything to be there. Except for me, and Father Time's allowed.
Completely valid and very, very fair.
Yeah, especially if my vessel is just open. Like, I'm not trying to have anything there, so.
Do you have any idea or any instinct on where he came from, or it came from, would you say?
With a lot of the things that I talk to, I do have an idea. I think he is very earth-based. I would say he's probably, like, a sage for some kind of, like, elven energy, because that's the energy I get from him, especially with his height. But he definitely just has that old, like, wizard feeling to him. He's got a really long white beard, really long white hair. I very rarely see his eyes, because the shadow of his fucking hood is, like, over his eyes. And that's pretty much how I see him all the time. Every house that I've ever lived in, he's always hunched over. Like, he's, like, gigantic. He's always, like, fitting himself into the corner of my room. Wow. He likes to lurk in the shadows. He likes to be in the shadows. There has been a couple times I played with smoke with him, where I put myself in a small space where there was not airflow. It was in my closet, actually. And I channeled him into that space, and I would blow smoke in hopes that it would blow back, and there was a couple times it did. So that was one of the first, like, really gratifying, you know, like, I couldn't figure out any other way that it would have been happening that way.
Sure.
So.
And that was your intention, too.
Yeah.
You were doing it with intention.
Yes. So.
Asking for him to communicate back.
And he did. And he's got a lot of, like, grandfather energy. I do think he's older than Earth-based, though. I think we're probably old friends, and he's here to just kind of keep an eye on me. So,
that's so cool.
Which turns out, as I've gotten older and done practice for, like, a lot of years now, I feel that way a lot about a lot of my things that I communicate with. A lot of them are just here to make sure that I'm doing whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing here, which I don't know yet. So
that's a pretty creepy first experience.
It was
you know,
fucking freaky.
As a kid. I'm glad that it wasn't.
But it was a happy ending.
Exactly. I'm glad that it ended up being something that you feel is a protective force, but I can definitely understand as a young person being really confused by that situation and being kind of, like, thrown off, like, energetically in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in my house? You know,
it's spooky. Fucking, it's so crazy, because having the psychic intuition for, like, using terminology that everybody can understand, it's something that my whole family does in a way, and through religion, especially in the last 2 generations, was blinded, and everyone kind of was avoiding it. And it wasn't until I got older and then learned my ancestry and like went down this rabbit hole that I realized like this has been in my genes for like ever, you know. So it's funny to me that it you know, it was through religion it got blinded. And you know, even my grandfather like he's still totally a wizard man, you know, but he actually did a lot more practice, and now he is the bishop of a Mormon church, you know, which is totally fine. Whatever anybody needs to believe in to touch source, I think is totally fine, and we all can't jump into the unknown and feel comfortable. And I think religion acts as a guide for some people, even though I disagree with it.
Sure.
You know, but I can understand, and so I let him have that. But
that's disappointing though, knowing that like you had this cool
I also felt
bond
like a
and
freak
you saw
my whole
him,
life,
and then
know?
all of a sudden you're like, well, there you go.
Yep, there's certain
the
people in my
side.
family that understand that side because we choose to tap into that just like energetic discovery, you know.
Sure.
But
We all have different ways of getting what answers or more questions that we need. So I guess he took his own route, but it does go in your family. Like it is part of your
like goes way
family.
back, you know.
That's
like
cool.
there's names, I can't remember the names. It was my mom who told me who they were, but there's names of women in just like very recent generations too that were known as like the medicine women of the towns that they were in, you know, like that the energetic practice of like, you know, witchcraft or whatever, it goes really far back in my family. And then learning my ancestry and knowing that like we're all Viking pagan people, like back like 9,000 years or whatever, you know, like it's just, I've always been able to do that. And now I have a better understanding that I'm older, but when I was a kid, I did feel weird about it. And I was very shy, honestly, when I was a kid. I'm not very shy now, but I was when I was a kid, you know, like it was hard for me to communicate what's in my brain. So
Dusty has a question actually.
What?
He says, what is Father Time's role? I hear his name often, but I don't know what his purpose or intention is.
His role for me is a guardian. I don't know what his purpose or intention is either. I don't know if I'll ever know. But he's always been around, and he's my oldest guide that has not changed or transitioned. There's other guides that I, you know, stopped talking to for a while because they don't serve a certain purpose in my life that end up coming back, or just I haven't talked to them in a while, you know, and feel like I got the information I was trying to download and process. But he's my oldest guide, and I think he's just here to keep me safe. So I don't really know what his purpose is. I don't know what his, like, you know, his MO is and what he's trying to accomplish in my life, but he's always there to make me feel safe, which I think is important.
That's good.
So he's a good grounding role model.
Do you call upon him sometimes when you feel like you need him specifically?
Yeah, if I'm ever scared by myself, like a lot with the alien stuff that have been experiencing, I would tell him to come and help keep me safe, you know. And a lot of the time when I call on him, I feel him behind me. I don't see him. I feel him like behind me, and he's so big that I feel like I'm almost sitting inside of him. Like I feel like he's like helping keep my energetic barrier strong. So
wow, that's really cool that you have that.
Yeah,
and you feel like you have this little safe bubble around you.
And you know, when I was younger, I feel like I appreciated that a lot more after I was done being scared of him, and I kind of understood what was going on. I called upon him a lot more, and now I feel like I can do it. Like I have had so much proof throughout like my energetic practice of being able to clear a space, and so I don't feel like I need that help very much. But sometimes I do call on him now just for comfort. You know, like with the alien stuff, like I knew they weren't in my space, but sometimes it would freak me out, you know, and I'd be like, I really wish that I had Father Time here right now, you know, like.
Aww, so you can just summon him when you need him.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's really, really cool. And I know you recently started doing a painting with him in it, which is so cool. I can't wait to see that done.
I know, me too. I need to work on that.
Really, really cool. Yes. And you talked about painting them on the wall of your room too.
Yes.
Which I would love to see you do that. I think that would be really, really nice.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to go about that one, but I feel like having a dedicated space for him that's in a corner where he can know that that's his like portal essentially into this artwork, I feel like it's a nice appreciation.
I think so,
and
too.
it's something I've never done for him before, so I feel like he would appreciate it.
Oh, I think that would be
If I was him, I would.
That's so cool. I love it. Okay, so that was the first experience that you had that was otherworldly. What would you say was the first supernatural as far as ghost, or what you perceived to be a ghost situation?
Actually, that took a long time for me. There was lots of little things that I feel like when I was younger, like pictures falling off of walls or things being misplaced, where I was just like, that's weird. But I never was one to jump to those conclusions, even if I felt the energy there. So I can't remember the first time that I felt negative, stagnant energy, especially at that time, not having another word for it than ghosts. You know, now I've played with so many different kinds of stuff where I'm like, this feels like fae, this feels like alien, this feels like interdimensional elven, you know, like this feels like Pleiadian, this feels like Lyran. Like now I have all these categories.
Sure.
When I was younger, most of the stuff that I would experience, I was like, it's a ghost. Because that was the only word I had.
Sure.
You know,
that
so
makes a lot of sense.
There was lots of little things. Now that looking back on it and having like played with the fae, I think a lot of the misplaced stuff and stuff like that was playful and like little fairies,
Sure,
you know?
Sure.
But as far as like ghosty experiences go, even though I felt it and I thought it was a ghost, I was always more quick to honestly not necessarily dismiss, but figure out like, okay, there's a draft coming from here, so that could have caused this. Or like, okay, maybe, you know, I always had animals in my house. Maybe an animal like bumped something, or maybe it was the thumbtack. Like I was always very good at like investigating before I assumed.
Sure.
And
trying to take a logical approach as opposed to just jumping to conclusions.
Yes. And I think the first actual no other explanation besides stagnant energy was John, the guy that was in the first house I ever rented out when I was 14. I rented a room out of my friend's parents' house, and he would like, there was this chair, it was a swivel chair, right? And I like at first the chair was pointing towards us when we would wake up in the mornings, and I would move it and like it would come back and point towards us, and I thought maybe the swivel was out of balance, so I like physically like turned the chair over and like used a level. I also like made sure that the floor wasn't slanted, like I was trying to figure out what was going on. And then I kind of just dismissed that too as like, okay, like even though this is weird, it could be anything that I don't know. I'm not like a carpenter. I don't know, you know, and it could absolutely possibly just be me kind of thinking too much about it. So, or if it was something, I was like, whatever, you can move the chair at nighttime. It just bothered me because it was pointed towards my bed.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't like that. But
like,
then
what's looking at me?
I had this TV that was also on a swivel, and around like 3:50, 4 in the morning, it was always around the same time, the TV would start slowly moving. And I was doing a lot of psychedelics at the time, so I totally was like, maybe I'm just having like a psychedelic flashback, you know, and like, but it kept happening around that time. And then I had a friend stay over, and they asked me when we were watching TV, hey, is your TV moving? And I was like, like, it's not just me that sees it. It's weird. It's so weird.
That's
so
strange.
We kind of were like, whatever. And then this is when I learned to set boundaries with friends. I let friends stay in my room while I went out of town for like a week. I come back to find out that they were playing with a Ouija board in my room. I've never played with one. And I've always been extreme, like I've always known that was not like bad news. So I've never played with one because I always knew it just feels yucky to me. And I fucking lost my shit. I put a lock on my door with a key where I was like, now everybody has to like wait for me to be there because I don't fucking trust any of you people. And that was when I felt like it opened the door for mean things.
Why were they doing that in your room? There are other rooms in the house.
But my room was like the kick it, like basement room where like everybody hung out and smoked pot all day.
Okay.
So,
all right. So that,
know,
that makes sense.
I like, it was like a parent's house, and then I had my space.
They didn't just
like,
infiltrate your extremely private
No,
space.
but I told them they could use it. You know, they asked, and I
Gotcha.
told them they could, and then they infiltrated it with a Ouija board, and I was like, how dare you?
Damn.
So,
that sucks.
But once that happened, shit kind of got fucking weird. My light switch would turn on and off sometimes, and it was the switch itself. You could hear the switch in the middle of the night, and it fucking freaked me out. So I did a lot. I was like meditating specifically on a daily basis at that time, and I was playing with a lot of white magic. So I totally, like, on a constant basis was clearing my space, and the thing was still happening. But my thing is like, because I'm really good at banishing, I try really hard to just calm the space and threaten banishing, because every time I do it, I don't know where I'm sending things. And that bothers me a little bit, because I don't, if they're just confused or afraid, like, I don't know what it's like to be inside an interdimensional space or the upside down or whatever. I don't know what it's like, and if they're scared of me, like that movie The Others, where the ghosts are the ones that are scared because they think it's ghosts, so it's like that concept I always think about, where I'm like, what if I'm the one scaring them? So I kind of just like chill the space out. I, in this situation, don't feel like that's what it was, but I just threatened this guy. He felt very old man energy, like stagnant old man energy. And I was like, okay, like, this is your last fucking warning. And it was after I gave that last warning, that night I had my friend sleep over with me, because I was kind of scared to be alone in my room at this point. And this fucking, so we had a Wii. That's how we watched, like, the YouTubes and stuff. The Wii controller, which was on the shelf above my bed, it, like, started making this vibrating sound, and then was, like, hitting the bottom of the shelf and the top of the shelf, and it did it multiple times. It was like bouncing between the two shelves.
No,
so that was a big no-no. And I stood up really fast, and I went and flipped on the light switch, and I turned around, and the controller stopped doing that but fell on the bed. And then I had this gigantic astrology book that was on the top shelf of these shelves, and it flew over this gap of two shelves to the other top of the other shelf, and then smashed right next to my friend's face on my bed. And that was my big, like, we're fucking done. We're done. Especially because I was angry about the situation more than I was scared. And then my friend started bursting into tears. And, like, to this day, she still tells me it's her only ghost experience. Like, she still gets a hold of me about it and is like, this really happened, right? Like, that was, like, a real thing. And I'm like, yes, that really happened. But I was fucking pissed off. So,
jeez, yeah.
That was one of my first, like,
sucks.
biggest banishing moments, where I was like, we're fucking done, and you have to go now. I'm sorry if this is your home. I don't know how long you've been here, but we're done. Like, we're not doing this. So that was my first probably really big, like, scary experience, and having things fly across the room like that, and witnessing it with my eyeballs and being like, what's happening? Like, what the fuck is happening? That was probably
That's weird. The controller was just like smash, 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 smash. That's weird.
Well, because they would vibrate sometimes, like, if it, like, got bumped, or, like, if the sensor was, like, on the TV, it would, like, vibrate in your hand to, whenever you play games, like, make it feel like you're hitting stuff, or whatever.
Sure.
But, so that's what I thought was happening. And, yeah, all of a sudden it just got louder and louder, and started hitting the top of the other shelf and the bottom of the same one, and just, like, smacking up and down. It was so weird. But that was one of my first, like, there is no other reason this is happening right now. There's no other reason besides a ghost, Like, it was my first, like, legit ghost experience.
I don't know what other logical explanation there could be for something like that.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it was scary.
And then the book landing next to your friend's head.
Yeah, and then my poor friend Talia, she just burst into tears and was like, Jesus, like, that's scary. It was a big book. It was like the size of this box. It was like a big book. And I ended up actually getting rid of it because I didn't really want to keep it after that. I gave it
Everyone
to a friend.
look at this
exactly. This was, like, dangerous, like, so yeah. And then he was gone after that. And like I said, that was probably one of my first, like, big banishings, where, like, I was against something. It wasn't just energy that I felt. It wasn't just like, okay, like, I'm feeling the space and there's something here. You better not fuck with me. It was this, like, I know what you are. You've been doing this kind of shit to me for months, and I'm fucking done. I warned you.
What did you do to banish it?
I do what I normally do, which I go around with my choice of, dried plant at the time, depending on the energy of what's going on. At that time, I was specifically using sage, because I was getting into my craft, and that was, like, the traditional cleansing space area.
Sure.
Now it depends on what kind of cleansing energy I want. If I need warmth and love, I use cinnamon. If I need like pure and clean, I use rosemary. Lavender is for calming. Sage is the ultimate clearing energy, so I still do use sage, but I also now have varieties of different kinds of sage.
Sure.
So at the time, it was white sage that I was using, and walked around and made up whatever mantra felt right in the moment. And they don't have to rhyme, but a lot of the time they come out that way. It's very much like spell book, but it depends on the moment. I'm addressing something that I want to address, and then I go around and I say it in all the corners, and then I'll sit down with some kind of grounding rock or herb or whatever, and I will envision myself in 360. My light, my protective light, the light that I embody, it's blue and green, like swirly, and then it's got like gold glitter in it, is what I see around myself when I'm doing my energy work. So I take that and I start it in my heart center, which I feel like is my strongest. And then from my heart center, I radiate it out. And then I radiate it in all directions until I can get it as big as I can. And then once my energy is set where I feel like it's freezing whatever energy is in there, I either use a window or I use some kind of actual object to visualize a door for whatever it is. And I tell them where to go, and that's their only option of moving, is if they're in that direction, and then I send them to whatever's on the other side. But I can't choose what's on the other side. It's too much energy for me to... I have tried, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced I can choose where to send them. And I don't...
Doesn't matter where you go, but you can't stay here.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I envision them leaving, and I force them to. It's like the way I do it, too, I've noticed it's very air-related most of the time. It's like I'm blowing them in the direction, and that's literally the only direction they can go. So when I'm cleaning, I do that too. I do it with any stagnant energy that needs help finding its way out, because I think a lot of the things are just passerbys and they don't know how to leave. And when I'm cleaning, I try really hard to, like, all the doorways and stuff, to guide an extra strong wind for whatever is trying to leave, that can't leave. Like here, like this is an actual, like, door, you know, like, so...
It's good.
When you walk into it, you can feel that gust. It's like a current. Like I'm putting a wind current in the direction that I want them to be going. So.
That's good. That sounds like a really good...
But it worked.
Yeah, it's good toolbox that you've got, for sure.
So, and I've gone into other people's houses and done it for them. Like I've had a lot of friends have a lot of really big, scary experiences. I've never charged for it because I don't feel right about that right now. And I don't know if I ever will. But every time that I've ever gone into a space and done that, like I've done it enough times that like whatever's there is gone after that. So that's good.
Glad you've been able to help other people. I have
like the confidence. Me too. It's really heartbreaking the times that people have been like, I need help, and you're the only person I could think of to help. Especially because I don't tell people this stuff very often. So people know that that's something I can help with, which is cool.
That's
so
very
I appreciate that. But yeah, that was my scariest, probably my first scariest ghost story. Now it's not my scariest, but I would say it was my first scariest. So.
What's your scariest?
It was the graveyard incident. That was the scariest moment of my entire life.
That was the scariest one.
It was. Because
I was there for that one.
It's not very often that I actually get freaked out. And I got where I was like, I don't think I can do this. I have to just leave. And honestly, what it had to do with was it wasn't my territory to control. I willingly walked into some other energy's territory. There's nothing I can do in that situation other than leave. And then make sure that I'm not taking anything with me. That's in my control, is making sure I don't have anything on me. But being there...
Yeah.
Is like, I can't control them, like, whatever, fuck you guys can't come. Like, how rude is that? This is your home.
Yeah.
I know you're a little too interested. It's like the 6 feet, you know, like you gotta 6 feet away, yep. COVID's.
Social distance.
Yeah, exactly, you know, but.
Yeah.
That was probably the scariest situation.
And, you know, for the long time that I have known you, I have never seen you afraid. I've seen you spooked from things, but I'd never seen you afraid. And in that moment, I was just like not sharing my fear in the moment because I was trying to hold it together, and don't let anybody smell fear, like we're totally fine. And then when I saw that you had the fear, I was like, oh, we're fucked. Oh shit. If Tavia's scared right now, like, we're fucked. We gotta go. We gotta go.
All I know how to do, I'm confident in holding my boundaries, though. So that's good. But that was the only time I ever felt surrounded, too. Where it was like, okay, let's say there's like 4 things. I'm like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Like, 4 things is fine. Even though if I can't get rid of you, I can at least maintain my boundaries so you can't get to me.
Yep.
But like...
No, that was too much.
A fuck ton of them like that. I felt like it was like... I don't know. It just, we were surrounded at all angles. I felt so almost claustrophobic. That's the word I'm looking for. It made me feel like I was like going into like if you have air conditioning inside and it's fucking hot as balls outside and you walk outside and it's this wall, it felt like this wall of like negative, like not happy people that were just like.
I mean, what I could feel right behind us, in between us, like breathing on my neck essentially.
Yes. Gross. No,
and I started power walking because I was like, "Don't run, don't! You can't show fear. You can't show fear."
That was when I grabbed your hand though and was like, "Let's hold hands. We're gonna hold hands back to the car."
And we power walked. We were like, we're just walking. We're not running. It's fine.
In that
we're
moment,
not scared of you. But
whatever was following us definitely had like a doomy, gross, like dark feeling. Yeah. So that. I wasn't scared in that moment. It was when we got to the car and out of the corners of my eyes, I could physically see these almost like black stripes and acknowledged that was things. And then also acknowledged that more and more of them were gathering. That's when I got fucking scared. Yep. Where I was like...
You were scared. You were definitely scared before. Yes. But that was like the pinnacle of fear, dude. Yes. Agreed. Because... I definitely saw. I saw it at first. Is when we were walking down that trail. I saw
like legit panic.
Yes, and that was.
But whatever was following us was gross feeling. It was like really gross. Like
it was, and like it's a old cemetery, so it's like pioneer, mainly old 1800s graves or whatever. And you know what? It's interesting. I didn't think about it until right now. I was trying to like pin down what I would equate that energy to of what was behind us.
Tell me, because I have an idea. I know what it feels like.
I feel like from the Green Mile, Billy the Kid.
Okay.
Who was just like a total fucking asshole and was like creepy and was just starting shit and just trying to fuck around. That's
kind of what I got too. Was something just really fucking gross like that. Yeah. Like something that was like. Yeah, just really gross. It was gross. It was like a disturbing energy to me. And it's not very common I've been in that situation either.
And then it drained my phone battery out and drained my little external charger completely out. And that I was like, what are you draining this for? What do you need this energy for? Fuck this. That's when I started fumbling with my keys.
Oh no, I know.
And I was like, no.
Dude, that was where my actual panic started. It went from, like, being spooked and scared to, like, panicked was when I could hear you fumbling with the keys. And I was like... I was like, we gotta get in the car. And you're like, I'm trying.
I was trying so hard. It was
scary.
Yeah, it was scary. So that was the scariest moment that you had. And I happened to be there for it.
Because I felt not in control. Whereas every other scary moment that I've had, I did feel in control, even if it was a little spooky. It's the same with like survival thing, where like somebody's hurt and I'm like on it. And then it's after the fact that the adrenaline kind of kicks in and I'm like, actually, that was a really scary situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that one, like, I felt I wasn't in control. And that's what scared me.
There was too many of them. There was too much. And I really think that it was partially the fact that it was me and you together because we're both so bright individually that when we get together we make like this giant beacon, like a lighthouse beam or whatever. And I like whoever was just hanging out, creeping around this graveyard, whatever, like everybody started waking up and just checking us out. And I don't need any of that.
It was like zombies.
That was too much. Yeah.
We turned on the fucking light with all the music and They're like, what's going? We know where to go now.
Yeah.
Let's go there. That makes sense.
Or the squeaking floorboard in the horror movie where you're trying to be quiet and then everybody's like, yeah. Okay, so that was the spookiest. That was in Leavenworth, Washington.
And I won't ever go back to that cemetery, not even in the daytime, which sucks because it seems like a really cool cemetery. So if any of you guys want to check it out and then report back, take photos for me, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh, we didn't mean to scare you, but
yeah. We're definitely
go.
not going back to. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that one. I'm really good. And I've been to so many cemeteries.
Yeah.
We've got hundreds of cemeteries.
Especially at nighttime,
all
that's
over
what we
the
do.
world. I know. And that one, that was not good. But I thought it was interesting that we weren't sharing how we felt at first with each other, because we were trying to be like, oh no, maybe that's just, we're at spooky graveyard at night, whatever, like we're fine. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. You're totally fine. Everybody's fine. Like, we were just really trying to be fine as long as we could until both at the same time we were like, it's not fine. Yeah. It's not fine.
Maybe we shouldn't be here.
Yeah, that was it was you shouldn't be here. But it wasn't like anger, you shouldn't be here. It was like, oh, you shouldn't be here, but you are.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
It wasn't like get out feeling. It was like come closer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let us check you out. Let me smell you from behind. I was like, no. Oh man, my heart was just beating out of my chest that day. That was a good one. That was good.
Yeah. What do you do to recover from your fear when you feel like that?
What do I do to recover from it? As soon as we left the gate of the cemetery, we didn't really say much of anything for a minute. And as we were leaving that boundary, I don't remember if I did it out loud or if it was just in our heads. I probably did it out loud. But I was like, okay, this is the line. You cannot pass. You cannot pass. So I tried to make a conscious effort to leave behind the energy that was there, and then kind of tried to shake it off. It was a matter of trying to just shake it off and leave it behind. Yeah. And we're driving, and I was trying to leave it behind us.
That's what I do too. I verbalize it, and then if I need actual physical things, I do envision myself shaking it off, but sometimes I feel like that energy gets a little stagnant. And I actually envision pulling it through my fingertips. I'll grab my hands and I'll pull it off, whatever is left, because it's that you just want to get rid of it.
Yeah, a lot of times I do this,
brush it off, you're covered in dust or something, and you're just getting it off of.
And I breathe out a lot too, as far as to physically
blow the bubble
blowing it away. But we drove for a little bit, for a while, and I just kept feeling like that energy was still present to some degree, and we pulled off on the side of the road. I was like, I have to just stop for a minute. We have to just get out. We were on a lonely highway at night.
Shook the car out and did the whole.
I got out and
okay,
I was like, nope, we're leaving this shit behind. We're not bringing this home with us. No fucking way. So I guess that's the best thing I could say, is just to try to leave it behind, to make a conscious effort to just not bring it with. Because, man, I've seen some circumstances of people not knowing how to cut that off and then bringing things with them. Actually, my friend Kat, when we were in Colorado, we went to a cemetery at night. And I always, whenever I leave a cemetery, even if there's no gates or whatever, as soon as I step on the sidewalk, I'm always like, okay, thank you very much. You cannot go past this. I'm going this way. You stay this way. I always do it. But a lot of times I don't say it out loud. Kat didn't do it this one time, and she had a horrifying experience. It was over a couple weeks, actually, and she was working at this liquor store, and she would close up the liquor store at night, and she had such scary shit happening. She knows that it was something that she picked up there that just attached to her and followed her, and we worked together to try to get that to fuck off. But I was like, that's why every time I always make a boundary, and it's not destined to work, but it's better than just walking away and not.
Well, and believing in the movement of energy that you have is really what it goes with. if you have the confidence that you're moving that energy and you make that energy tangible, that's really all it takes. You have to, which is where it comes from, practicing your craft, developing your craft, having confidence in your craft. Like, if you don't believe it's going to work, it's not, because you aren't making that energy tangible enough to physically move it, you know? And when I'm moving energy, I feel like I can feel it. So when I'm cleaning a space and I'm envisioning my bubble, I can feel how far it's going with all. It almost feels like my nerves, but it's not. It's my energetic body, and it takes a lot of energy. Yeah. And it, like, you get, like, I don't know how many times I've done stuff like that where, like, I am legit, like, tired afterwards, you know, like, because you're extending and expanding a lot of this energy. But that's why practicing your craft and figuring out how to work with source and manipulate the energy that's around you is very important. You know, only if you're going to be doing stuff like that, or if you believe in it, because some people don't. And then that's okay, because they're not going to be as susceptible to a lot of this stuff if they don't. There's a lot of stories where people didn't believe until something happened. So, you know, but there's things everywhere is the thing. Like, there's always something watching. There's always something going on. There's so much space in between our realm, not just, like, you know, in this dimension, but all over, that everything coexists and, like, exists in. It's, I don't know. So you have to have, like, that confidence in your craft, but it takes practice for that, you know? Like, when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been able to do that shit, you know? I was terrified of my guides when I was a kid. I was like, oh, you know? But it's unknown, you know? That's really what it is.
I'm proud of you, though, for finding that confidence in time and being able to understand and differentiate energies. So it's not just spooky energy. Any foreign energy doesn't necessarily equate to spooky energy. So you're able to see, like, okay, this is a more sad energy. Okay, it's not necessarily aggressive. This is just interested. These are too fucking curious. And then this is actually, like, creepy.
Totally.
It's very important to be able
and that's
to
the kind of stuff that, like, when I say I was born remembering things, that's more what I'm talking about. Because, like, knowing when I was a kid that if I just told these things to go away, that they would, is something that, like, nobody told me how to do. Because nobody that was around me talked about anything like this. You know? And, like, I was probably 4 years old when I started working on my craft and making sure that I had control over my space. Even though at the time it was all ghosts. You know? So there was, like, probably a lot of things that didn't deserve to be banished that I couldn't handle at that time. It was circumstantial, you know? But now, that's why, you know, I like to have an understanding about what it is that I'm dealing with, and I like to feel, you know, I like to feel exactly what's going on. Because a lot of the time, I'm, like, fucking fine. Like, if you're just, like, walking on through, like, that's totally fine, but you can't do things that are going to scare me, because that's when I'm like, okay, we're done.
Or demanding of my or your energy.
Yeah.
Like, if something is coexisting and checking it out, I feel more comfortable with that. But when something tries to pull energy from me one way or another, whether it be my fucking phone or whatever, or from me personally, that's a boundary that I am not comfortable with something overstepping.
And normally there's, like, places you're not allowed to go. So, like I said, in my room at nighttime, even if you are my guides, I don't want you in my fucking room. Father time is the only one. Like, not my jam. I don't like it, because honestly, the reality of the situation is even if I believe, like, 100% that I'm working with this particular type of energy, I don't actually know. You know, it's why when I use my pendulum and when I use, you know, certain things to communicate with other entities, like, a lot of that stuff I take with a grain of salt, because I'm like, I don't actually know. You can be telling me yes and no, and you can be saying all the right answers to convince me of this, because I'm making thoughts in my head that are giving you the answers that you can tap into probably and actually know what it is I'm going to say before I say it. So it's always like a grain of salt for me, but I've had magical experiences doing stuff like that too. So it's like, I feel like my experiences that really touched me when it comes to any kind of divination, like free writing and stuff like that, I actually have been able to tap into these energies because I'm calling on them. Which is why I always tell people, don't just be like, if anybody's here, say yes or no. That's stupid. You have to go into it with intention, because if you're just saying whatever's here, the first things that are going to be more inclined to talk to you are the things that want something from you.
Yep, absolutely.
So, you know, if you're not calling somebody or something, you know, I would just say don't fuck with it. Or if you do, set up serious boundaries and, don't expect anything to be true. Because the first ones that will always respond to your call are the ones that want something from you.
Yep. Have you ever done a Ouija board?
No. I've been around one,
Well done.
but I've always left the space. That was also something I never had to have anybody tell me. Was I always felt like they were really scary. And it sucks because there's totally this curiosity where there's been quite a few times where I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily mind trying it out, but I know better. And I think that something has happened to me in previous lives or whatever that taught me, maybe that's why I had things chasing me in my night terrors my whole life. Like, I have this warning signal that goes off in my brain where if I touch that and I choose to do it, I feel almost like there's something waiting for me to do that. Like, something is waiting for me to do that. And I'm like, not going to do it. And it's like, how long are you not going to do it though? So it's really that, like, my curiosity cannot break that rule for me because it's been one in my life the whole time. And I'm really glad that there's this warning that was going off. I was just heeding this warning anytime I was around one. I'd fucking leave. Like, it was to that extremity where I'd be like, there's one at this party right now, I'm fucking out of here. Because there's something about that specific tool that I feel like there's something waiting. Like, something is waiting for me to open that door, and I can't let that.
Good. I'm glad that you know better. I unfortunately dabbled into that stuff when I was younger because I didn't know how else to tap into the abilities that I had. I didn't really have anybody that I could really talk to about it at that time, and I thought the only way for me to really tap into that was to physically communicate with these kind of things, and it was not the best choice. It definitely backfired quite a bit. It could have definitely been worse, but I opened up some shit that I didn't need to be opening up, and I'm really proud of you for knowing better, not letting that curiosity or that need for validation override your instinct.
It's because I think I've done that before, and that's what I mean. Like, when it comes to my craft, like, I'm one of the few people I know that actually started, like, practicing at, like, age, like, 4. Because at that time, I didn't really have any other choice, is how I felt, Tell these things to go away. But, like, it made me really curious, And then a lot of things just came to me. Like, I know this is what I need to do. I very rarely have had to consult books. It wasn't until I got older and learned my craft that I was like, I want to know what other people do. Like, I want to know what other people's tools are and, like, that kind of stuff. And that's honestly when I really started questioning, like, spiritual beliefs as well, around when I was 8, because I had developed my craft very early. And then when my mom started going to church and I had to go with, and I got baptized, I was like, this is so fucking wrong. Like, this is so wrong what I'm doing. I can't do this. This is not what I believe in at all. And then it sent me down this rabbit hole of, what do other people believe? Because I know what I believe, but what do other people believe? Only to find out in the end that I know what I believe and that's okay. But I was like, maybe I should, like, believe in, because the power of community and the power of, like, a mass people made sense to me. And then I really learned about what religion was and was like, that's not my bag. Like, there's more power that comes in the energy I can create on my own than there ever would be.
Absolutely.
In a mass of people like that, which is why I feel like it's easy for me to walk into a room and change the atmosphere of a room, is like, I can make that mass of people feel a certain way, which is also why I generally lock myself in my room when I'm feeling like shit, is because I don't want to share that energy, and I don't always know how to not give off some of my energy in every circumstance that I'm in.
Yeah.
So
I understand that as well.
Be selfish with the negative emotions, because a lot of the time they bleed, and I've watched it happen, where, like, I'll walk into work because I'm in a bad fucking mood, and then everybody kind of is, like, grouchy at work that day, and everyone was fine until I got there, like, even if outwardly I'm still acting like myself. I don't know, if I had $1 for every time somebody knew, no matter how hard I was pretending to be okay, that somebody knew something was wrong, like, I would never have to work ever again.
I also agree. I'm not very
Something's
good
wrong. I don't know what you're talking about.
My emotions. Yeah. That's extremely hard for me to do as well. And I try for the sake of trying to, put on a happy face. Like you said, there's times you're like, okay, this is nobody else's shit, so it's fine. Or if something irritates me while I'm at work or something like that.
Yeah, shake it off. It's that shake it off.
Try to shake it off.
And normally I have a hard time breaking that, especially if it's something a customer did, until the customer leaves. Like, I have a hard time. Like, I'm pretty good at it if it's just minor stuff where somebody's being, like, dumb in the way that I can tell they've never done this job before.
Sure.
But when it's like somebody's a fucking asshole and I'm trying to make them happy and smile at them when I don't feel it, it normally takes them leaving my space for me to be like, okay, everything is fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and Dusty, you're right. It is true just walking down the street. Absolutely. It's why it's very important to understand, we are all intertwined in this, so my energy is not just mine because I'm feeling it, because all the space between my body touching your body, which there isn't, we're all touching each other, even scientifically, because of all of our atoms and molecules. Like, it makes sense, that ripple effect and how it happens, but keeping it so close is poisoning me. So, and we're emotional creatures. So this is like the we're all on the same path of figuring out how to manage our emotions, not spread them to other people, causing, asking people if it's okay if you share your traumas with them, making sure you're not triggered. Like, it's really important to do all of that kind of stuff. Because, like, that's what we're all here, we're the creatures of emotion, being human, and that's how we all live. And it's not wrong to feel what you need to feel. It's how you're feeling it and how you're projecting it, because we are all projecting, even if we're not vocalizing our projection.
Absolutely.
So first step, don't vocalize your projections, but it's still happening because of what you're feeling, So,
and it's good to be able to communicate it. If you know that you are feeling shitty and you are exuding that shitty energy without even directly trying to, if that's communicated, hey, I recognize that I am not putting off the best vibes today. Please don't take it personally, or whatever, like, I apologize. Yeah. I don't want to affect anybody. Then I feel like people are way more understanding about that. But sometimes it feels like getting punched in the face with somebody's vibes.
Yeah.
And some people take up more space in a room than others. Some people have larger energy fields. And me and you both tend to have very large energy fields. And then somebody like Dusty, he has a very small field most of the time. So, he's not really going to walk in and affect everybody in the room emotionally as much. The people that are really close to him, when there's a disturbance in the force, you can tell. But as far as, like, affecting an entire, like, auditorium of people, like... Unfortunately, that is it's our curse that we have to deal with.
Yes. With
the fact that we do that. So
but it's a
managing it
way to be really mindful, and like, me, like, I don't always want to talk about what's bothering me. Yes, it makes me feel better most of the time, but, like, I don't always want to talk about it, but I always try really hard to be like, I'm just having a bad day because of things, like, yeah. I'm just having a bad day.
And everyone's entitled to have a bad day.
Yes,
just don't throw your shit at other people.
Totally.
That's the goal.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it right now.
And you know what? Nobody has to talk about anything as long as people recognize how far that their energy spreads. And like I said, everybody has a different radius, Are you a category 1 storm? Are you a category 5 storm? Like, sometimes we can affect people way far physically away from us that we don't even realize that we're doing. So I guess that's good to just be mindful and aware of what it is that we're putting out. But this goes kind of hand in hand with the story of talking about us, like, being in the cemetery or some of these other experiences that we've had, is that our energy reaches so far, it seems to attract things.
Yeah, it
from
reaches
very
so far
far distances.
It's interdimensional.
Yes.
Yes. So, which is okay. It's also something, it's a blessing and a curse for a lot of reasons.
So what's another spooky ghost story that you have? Can you think of any other specific places or circumstances?
Not spooky. It's not very often that I have actual spooky experiences, because I catch the energy pretty early. So I felt spooked out by energies lots and lots of times. But a lot of the time I'm very quick to be like, mm-mm. I'm okay with sad energies. I'm okay with wandering. I'm okay with them being scared. I'm not okay with something intentionally scaring me. And that is, my curiosity also does not exceed that. I don't fucking care why you're here. That's one of the few times, too, where I literally don't. I'm not asking you any questions. It's time to go. It's like, somebody walking into your, party that is there to, like, hurt your friends, or the date rapist at the fucking bar that comes into your house party. And it's like, no. I'm not here to ask you what you're doing. I'm here to tell you can't be here.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I feel with that kind of energy. It is not my purpose here. My purpose here is to not battle that shit. I have done my fighting. It's to maintain my space and figure out how I can build how I can process the dark energy that I experience and turn it into white light. I definitely am not a white witch. I'm definitely not like a white energy person embodied, because I go through my darkness in order to gain that. But it is what I choose to use. And I don't want to be dealing with shit that is going to taint that in any way. It's very important to me that what I am putting out is as white as it can be, because I have gone through so much bullshit to maintain and to greaten and to find more things to make into white energy. I'm doing my shadow work, and then I'm reflecting and mirroring, and I'm figuring out how to filter my shadow work into that white energy. It's through like that universal wisdom that I feel like can be tapped into. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean the experience isn't negative. Most of the time they are. But it is what I do with them, and I choose to do white energy work. But I respect dark energy because I see it and deal with it every day. So I respect it because it does have purpose. I choose to not resign in it. I will take my dark energy and I'll make it white because that is what's important to me. So... But it doesn't mean that I think that there's, it's not important over there. It's just not me. It's not where I am.
Absolutely agree. And, I have had, unfortunately, quite a bit of experiences with a lot of these darker things. And I made a vast point to kind of put out there, like, I acknowledge you and I acknowledge that you exist. And I don't think that you should not exist. No. I just don't want you in my space.
Yes.
This is not the kind of energy that I want, and this is not fair, but you are valid in existing, and without dark, there is no light.
Yep.
And there's balance to everything.
I wouldn't have a choice if you didn't exist, which is why the respect is there.
Yes, I have respect for it, but I demand that respect in return from these things, where it's like, I'm sorry, this life in this incarnation that I have right now, like, I don't owe you shit. If I owed you shit in the past, then we're done with that, like, debts have been paid. I'm calling it fucking good. Like, I don't owe you fucking anything, but I do respect that you exist, and I could banish you out of my space, but I'm not trying to banish you from existence,
Yeah.
And that's the kicker with that one, It's like, we don't know what it is and where it came from, but it doesn't really matter because I just don't want you in my fucking space.
Totally. And Dusty, to answer my question about shadow work, I use it as a term as far as like filtering any kind of dark energy. So I am working through the shadows, and it's something that can be as surface as, I feel like shit today. I don't want to feel like shit anymore. Or these are traumas that I have that have inflicted my life. How can I learn from these traumas? When it comes to just basic energy processing, it can also mean cleaning a space of shadowed energy. It can also mean to me taking any kind of negative impact that is happening, whether it's something that didn't come from me, and it's turning it into that white light. I want to be the filter of that shadow energy, and to me that is shadow work.
It's transmuting energy.
Yes. So I'm it's almost like the earth, when I have energy that I don't want to deal with, I put it into the earth to filter back out to become something neutral, but when it's personal to me, I can't always filter that shit into the earth because it's a part of me. So, I'm taking the shadowed part of my life, I'm filtering it through me, and I'm projecting it as white light. I'm changing the energy And that, in my terminology, is what my shadow work is. But when I have shadow journals, or what people call like book of shadows and stuff, and a lot of people's book of shadows have like all of their spells and stuff like that in it. Mine is specific for that. Mine is specific for changing things, and it's I'm a chemist of energy in that way. I'm turning it from one type of energy, one type of element, into something completely different. And sometimes it takes longer than others, especially with trauma. Trauma is some of the biggest shadow work that I do on a regular basis, is trying to, and it's not changing the story of the trauma either. I'm not trying to change what it did and how it impacted me. I'm trying to accept how it impacted me. I'm trying to reflect on what to do and how to change it, see it differently, and how can I tell my story with a happy ending even when the ending wasn't happy. So what did I learn is really how I go about that. What did I learn? What do I now know? And how am I doing better in my everyday life to make it a white energy, knowing that I'm not going to regret what either happened to me or what I did because of how I responded to it.
So, you are very, very good at that. I got to tell you, you're very good at self-reflection and trying to change the narrative, where it is what it is, but you do always try to see the good that can come out of that, and that is growth and movement forward.
Yes. Acceptance and growth are two huge things in my life. My first mantra I ever had when I was around 4 years old was, I choose to understand things whether I agree with them or not. And through that comes that white light. If I can find a level of understanding whether I agree with it or not, I can project it as a thought to be a positive thing, even if it's a negative statement. It's like, yeah, that totally happened, but check it out. Here's all the really fucking cool things that happen outside of that trauma.
Absolutely.
This is how it changed me for the better.
Yep.
And like shadow work is like really important to me. It is why I am not ultimately a white light person in the beginning, because I don't think anybody is. I think baby energies have that ability. I think people that are a little bit too afraid to confront the shadows have that, but I have been walking with the shadows for a long time, and that's what I want to do. I don't even want to tell them that they can't be around. They just have to they can't be a part of me, because if they are, I'm going to change the narrative. I'm going to change the way that it is thought about and how it's spoken.
Yeah.
So it's something it's really important to me to make sure that, because that's how I maintain my happiness. Like if I let the shadows overtake me, I'd be fucking miserable, especially with all the bullshit that I've gone through, So I have to change the narrative, not only because it's what I do energy work wise, but I don't know if I would be here if I couldn't do that.
Yes.
So,
and it's really about living in the moment as well, like recognizing that certain things have turned us into who we are, and there are certain traumatic instances that make us adjust how we react to things, but at the same time, this moment is what we have. So enjoying that moment genuinely is something that I think me and you both are really good at being able to do, regardless. I would say under most circumstances, not every circumstance, but under most circumstances.
And then we talk through it, and it's fine,
Yeah, even if
sometimes it takes longer, but sometimes it does.
But seeing a pretty flower or a little cute caterpillar or the fall leaves or whatever, like those things mean everything.
Yes, that one flower makes it the best day of my life, and then my day starts and ends there, and then I see the next beautiful flower, and it's again the best day of my life.
Yes. Yes.
That one leaf made it the best day of my life. Oh, now there's a bunch of leaves. It's the best day of my life, Like, somebody makes me a cupcake. I'm having a shitty day, and somebody's like, here's a cupcake. I'm like, okay, now my day is totally fixed, and everything is better, Thank you for the cupcake.
That's the thing. It's taking these little things in the moment and finding the true joy, the root of true joy and gratitude. So no matter what kind of shit that we've been dealt in our life, no matter what kind of things that we try to work through or regrets that we have or stresses or whatever, it's in that moment, if we're able to step outside and see a tree and truly feel in our soul that is the best day ever, because we're getting to experience it, like, we win.
Yeah.
we overcome all that bullshit and
Totally.
a lot of things that other people have put us through that it's not even stuff that's our fault that we did to ourselves. You know, all of these old traumatic instances with family or with friends or the loss of people that we love or whatever. It's like, not that those things don't still hold a lot of weight and that of course they still matter, but are we going to let it destroy us? Are we going to let it like ruin every single day because of this trauma? Fuck no.
And sometimes it resurfaces. Sometimes you think you worked past something and then something else comes back up. It's part of life. It's how you exist as human. Like, I chose to be here, you know, and this is who I am. And this is what has created me to be me. But how am I going to make it better me? And, like, I don't know how many situations that have been so fucked up where I'm like, I do not know in this moment how to fucking make this better right now. You know? Like, some of it's really fucking hard. Like, you and Dusty, above all people, know. Like, shit is really fucking hard. And sometimes it takes me months of, like, sifting through all of that, like, you know, like Joe said, sludge. It's like sifting through that fucking sludge. It's the swamps of fucking sadness, and you can't stop because even though you're feeling heavier and heavier, you have to keep going, and it always pays off. It's why I know it will always be okay. And then if it's not okay in my physical life, then I die, which is also okay because that's totally fine. Because we all do it, and it's gonna be epic, I will tell you what.
Aw, hi Andy.
Aww.
Thanks for joining us. We're two pretty ladies, says Andy. That's sweet. Aw. But yeah, I think that you've done a really good job at being able to maintain a baseline level of gratitude, regardless of the trials and tribulations that you deal with on a daily life. And I feel like it is so important and so, like, special for the type of person that you are, is because even if somebody pisses you off, I mean, sometimes you'll come home from work and you will rant for 2.5 hours about a customer that pissed you off. We're all human. We all have that where sometimes we just have to let that shit out and we're fucking pissed off. But when it comes down to it, in the end,
And then I feel better.
then you
It's
feel
like,
better.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's the right people too. You can't just unload on anybody, you know? Like,
Very
you're
true.
an excellent filter for that. Dusty's an excellent grounder for that, you know? It's why you guys are the two people I go to when I'm having issues with things, is because I know you guys can take my shadow. You guys can take that shadow work with me.
Absolutely.
You know, but yeah,
Always.
you know? And then sometimes it's like, okay, 2 hours, blah, this fucking sucked. And then I'm like, phew, now I feel great, you know? It's like, it's.
But you know what is cool about that is even if you had that really irritating day where you had to unload and you were so stressed out or whatever, if I'm like, do you want brownies or whatever, and you're
Then
like,
it becomes
yes,
the best day ever.
and then it becomes the best day ever. And I love that, rather than being like, no, I don't fucking want brownies because my day sucks, and now everything else is gonna suck because I'm not allowing myself to have this enjoyment because I'm so set in the idea that everything has to be so shitty because
Yeah.
I feel shitty, so everything has to be shitty, and everyone's
And
gonna
that's
feel
really
shitty
what
around
it
me.
boils down
That's
to
not healthy.
is like, it's that surrender and then recognizing that we all have the privilege to feel good. Everybody on this entire planet, even the people that do some of the worst things that you could possibly imagine, have the right to feel good. And it's filtering that energy to create that white light that is really important. But it all starts with that surrender, you know? And sometimes surrender is venting and then being like,
Yes.
let's eat some brownies now.
We all need to vent sometimes.
Yes.
It's super, super important. We should not hold all of our shit in. It's really important. As long as we're not projecting the negative energy that we have on other people in mean ways, because that's never productive in any circumstances, you know? So coming home and venting, I'm down. I will fucking listen to you. But I know that you're good for being able to flip that from like, okay, well, that sucked. I agree with you. That fucking sucked. And that was so fucking annoying. And you had every right to be pissed. But we're going to watch a fun movie.
Yeah.
And we're going to eat brownies. And today's going to be good. And tomorrow's going to be even better.
Yeah.
And you're always so willing and able to flip that. Because otherwise, swamps of sadness.
Yes.
Who wants to be in the swamps of sadness and then feel like, well, I've already committed to the swamps of sadness, so it looks like
And then
I'm
you're
just going to
sinking
fucking
and
drown.
it's like, no.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
sing. Don't do it.
Don't do it. We all have a choice. And I know sometimes shit is really fucking hard and it doesn't feel like we have a choice in that time. But when it comes down to it, we always have a choice on how we're going to live each day and how we're going to live each moment of that day, because it changes throughout the day. You could wake up in a great mood, then be in a shitty mood, but do you want to go to bed in a shitty fucking mood too? You can. And you're entitled to do that if you want to, but it's so much better to, you know, just do something fun and remind yourself that, like, okay, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Am I going to let it destroy me? And you don't let it destroy you. And I really appreciate that aspect of who you are. So thank you for being you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it works every time. And, you know, I'm not very old, but I've done it enough times, especially with all the fucking shit I've been handled, that, like, yeah, I know it's going to be okay. I just have to get through it. And sometimes when something surfaces, you know, it's specifically family drama stuff, where I'm like, ugh. Yeah. It's the last thing I want to be doing, but, you know, like, I don't have a choice. We don't have a choice when things get handed to us that way.
Yes.
A lot of that is out of our control.
Yeah, it's not choices that you made. This is choices other people made. And
that are affecting me.
Yep.
And, you know, but my choice is what I do with it.
Yes.
You know, and I want to be filtering it into that whiteness. You know, I want it to be full of love and understanding and wisdom and, you know, compassion and care. And
I do too. I want to live like that. And even if something is hard, like, tomorrow is a new day.
Yes.
And that's what I try to tell people when people are having really, really, really hard times, that I love, and there's nothing I can do to make it better. But, like, tomorrow is a new day. Mm-hmm. You can choose tomorrow.
Just breathe
when
it
you
out.
Wake up, you know? Like,
process.
You choose how you're going to react tomorrow and how you're going to treat other people in the world, you know? Like, everybody gets a choice. And anybody that feels like they don't have a choice in it has surrendered.
To the swamps of sadness.
Yeah. And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be bummed. It's all right to feel like things are unfair and feel frustrated about things.
Well, and the emotion is part of the surrender, but once it starts looping, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah.
Once it's a loop, you don't want to get stuck in the vortex and in the whirlpool of the emotion. But feeling the emotion is the beginning stages of healing and surrender. You know, so it's very important, which is something I've had to learn over and over and over again. It's one of my biggest lessons, is not to forget to feel that, because I don't have a choice in the moment, and I sometimes have a bad habit of being like, no, I'm white light, you know, and that doesn't help. So
yeah,
gotta remember to feel it and work past it, because it will be okay. Look, our tax was a quitter, kids. Never give up. Dusty, you are right. Don't be a quitter.
It is. It's true. Our reality is 90% what we make it, and then 10% external stimuli, in my personal opinion. I mean, we all are given a certain hand physically, like where we were born and the kind of families that we had, and you know, whatever. We all have these physical things that we can't control.
But what are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it? It's all up to you. Everybody gets a choice. Everybody gets a choice. Yeah. And sometimes it's really hard, being a passionate people like we are. It's really hard sometimes in the moment, when something is very frustrating, to not feel like it's the end of the world forever in that moment, you know? Like, it can be all encompassing of everything. But me and you, being both very passionate people, we're like, okay, hold on. This too shall pass. That's right. Big picture. We need to have the big picture. But it's hard sometimes. It is hard in daily life to remind yourself of the big picture. But I feel like that's when you're able to live a really good, solid, happy life and influence other people in positive ways.
Yeah. Because
if we let that bad shit overtake us, then all we're doing is going out in the world, and we're just like, I kind of visualize it as like being like a cloud of black smoke, and that we're just kind of drifting along and leaving this remnants of this black, dark smoke everywhere that we go. Like, I don't want to do that. Good Lord, I do not want to be the reason that there's black remnants of smoke just hanging out in my wake. I don't want to fucking do that. Like, it's not what I'm here for, and you either. So it's good. Well done. You have done very well. High five.
High five.
High five. Very good. Yeah. So it's always good. It's always good uplifting conversation. Everybody, don't be like Artax.
Yeah.
Apparently.
He's a quitter.
He's a quitter.
Andy, we need you to make a Artax is a quitter cartoon.
Yes. Yes, please do that. Fucking loser.
It makes me kind of feel sad a little bit talking about it like that because I'm like, oh no, it's like the most traumatizing thing of everybody's childhood, you know? Like,
You know what I find interesting though? Since we're speaking about this very scene, if those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about with Artax and the Swamp of Sadness, it's from Neverending Story. And they're going through the swamps, and if the sadness overtakes you, then you get sucked into the swamp and you're gone. What I find interesting is Atreyu was going through the swamps of sadness with Artax. Artax, the horse, who you would think maybe wouldn't have as big of a range of emotion to be able to feel what we would consider sadness, is sinking into this muck. But then you have Atreyu, who is a full-blown human being, magical human being, for sure, but was watching their friend get sucked into the swamp. So how did Atreyu not sink into the swamps? You know?
I think he started sinking though, didn't he? When he goes to try and pull him out, and he's really feeling sad. He started sinking a little bit, and
Yeah,
he
but
had to tell himself.
He made it.
Yep, he made it, and he had to tell
made it
himself
out.
to not do that. Yep, that's how you do it.
So be like Atreyu. That's
Be
the
like
goal.
Atreyu.
Yep. If you feel yourself sinking, decide to pull yourself out of that shit. That's good
Poor
advice.
Atreyu just had a depressed horse, didn't know.
I know. Why was the horse so depressed? What's up with that, man?
Well, you know, it's like, this sucks walking through this bullshit. I'd rather do anything but this. Should have taken him to therapy.
Okay, so on this note, what are some of the things in the world that give you the most happiness and joy, like on a pure level? What gives you the most happiness?
Wow.
I
There's
know.
a big list.
So
we're gonna.
That's great. Let's do it. We have all the
We're
time.
gonna vague list. We're gonna vague it. We're gonna group things together. So clearly, all the things that have to do with nature. I love all the slugs. I love all the leaves. I love all the plants. Anytime I'm in any kind of beautiful place is really big for me. Adventures are the biggest. Like that. The strive for the feeling of euphoria is what I go for in all of my life. Like, I love that feeling. If most of you don't know this, but if I'm really fucking feeling it, I'm sobbing because of my euphoria. I'll get so high on this adrenaline of how magical something is and can't believe that I feel like I am being gifted this memory, and I will just like cry because I'm so enthralled in that euphoria. Any kind of greatness when it comes to humans, when it comes to the universe, when it comes to, nature, when it comes to friends, that is what makes me the happiest, is those good things, because those are what, it's like that shadow work. Those are, to me, what I've earned by having the ability to, I'm not going on a vacation and being like, man, my legs hurt because I went on this really epic hike and now I'm sad for the rest of the entire adventure. Like, no, nobody's got time for that. I'll bitch about it. I'll be like, God, I'm fucking sore, dude. Like, I am so sore right now, But, like, it's being in that like, true adventure. It's that euphoria. And, there's so many things that give it to me. But it really depends. It's moment to moment. And ultimately what it feels like is it's a gift. This is what I work so hard for, is that euphoric feeling. And I can't feel that way if I don't work fucking really hard, and that's really what gets me off, in better terms. If I can be crying, it's really, really good.
So, that being said, okay, speaking of adventures, let's talk about traveling, which thankfully we have done a lot of. Bye, Jama.
Right.
We had Jama. She was our backstage Betty here for a little bit. So, since we have done a lot of traveling together, you've also done some traveling without me as well. What are some of the favorite things that you have seen in your travels? What are some of the most beautiful and most powerful things that you have witnessed?
Anything ancient, whether it be out here with the native tribes and all of the petroglyphs and stuff we have, or dinosaur bones, or, Knossos on Crete, like any kind of ruins. Some of my favorite stuff, though, is museums, honestly, where there are so many different ancient artifacts inside one space. That's something that humbles me like no other.
What was your favorite museum that you've been to?
The British Museum. Hands down, that they have some of the best shit that I have ever seen in one space ever.
Yeah, I agree.
They stole
and I've
it
been
all
3 times, and I still haven't seen it all.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
much in there. There's so much. So I gotta agree with you.
That
on
one's really fucking good, dude. And then they also have a natural history museum in Utah that's really, really good. That has like a bunch of like life-size scale like dinosaur skeletons, and like I grew up. That was one of my favorite museums when I was a kid growing up there. I thought it was so amazing.
That's awesome.
And then as far as just like.
Oh, remember in Crete? I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you.
That's okay. What?
But the Acropolis
one?
Not no, not. I said the Acropolis. That was in Athens. It was the one in Heracleon.
Yeah, it was the one with the Festus disc and stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
That was another one of the
that
really coolest.
Was so awesome. There was so much old stuff that they had.
Yeah. And I'm really, honestly, that was definitely one of the top 3 favorite museums too. And just the whole Minoan culture. And like, I'm really, really energetically drawn to it. And I think, it has to do with a lot of reasons, but I also love knowing how, I don't know, like, femininely divine everything was. Like, they were all trying really hard to exist in that ebb and flow, and a lot of the wisest, like the women that ruled during that day really outstanded me, and I thought was amazing, because I grew up out here where everything is white man male washed, and I see and do so much like history research where a lot of the people that were behind a lot of the really great things that all these white men got credit for were women. A lot of them were black women, but just women in general, It's like, it goes to one person and not everybody, and being in a museum where they were like, no, like this civilization, like it was like they idolized like this feminine energy and like the woman and the snake, and I really felt very at home seeing all of that stuff and thought it was really amazing, and they thrived because of that, and I think it was really, really beautiful. But the British Museum was probably the best collection I've ever seen of anything.
The mummies.
Yeah.
The mummy room.
But just like
Jesus
the big
Christ.
slabs of everything they had too, of like all different cultures, they had all the Egyptian hieroglyphs and these fucking like 30 feet fucking statues in the fucking entrance, like
Ramses too, like full-size statue, and you're like, what the fuck, man? That's like a 20-foot statue right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's got the Rosetta Stone there, the one and only, Rosetta Stone, which is fucking fantastic, and then a bunch of the Parthenon, which there is controversy surrounding that situation, but at least
they definitely have a lot of stuff in that museum that shouldn't be in that museum, but is because they went around and stole everything. Yeah. But it's an epic collection, so like, even though I know how fucked up it is that a lot of this stuff is there, I'm glad that it's being respected, and I'm glad that it is in this like amazing collection of things. Do I think that they should be home with the rest of the collections that they belong to? Yes, I do. But seeing so many different cultures, so many ancient, like, unconceivable objects from so many different cultures in one building blew my fucking mind. I was humbled right off the bat, too. I fucking, like, sometimes it takes a minute where I'm excited and I'm still bouncing around and I'm like, wow, look at this thing. And that was, like, as soon as I fucking got in there, I was like,
no, wow. You shut the fuck up real quick. You got real quiet. Man. And I always find it so endearing when you get just so quiet in those moments. And I remember, like, I kind of went and did something in the Egyptian section, and you were off doing something. And I went to go find you, and you were just, like, standing there staring at some exhibit with just tears just, like, coming out of your eyes. And I was like, oh,
It's amazing, you know? It's just amazing. I get so humbled by just, like, really, like, unhuman, amazing things, and loving to know that, like, you know, like, this is what I live for, is shit like this, you know? And it doesn't always have to be artifacts. It's in the top one, you know? Like, epic views do that to me, too, but that humbled feeling that comes with that, like, ultimate euphoria. Like, I'm not even, you know, I'm always bouncy and energetic and, you know, running around and, like, a 5-year-old with things that I love that put me in that state of euphoria as well. But it's when I get humbled, where I can't even talk without, like, wanting to sob because of how epic something is.
Yeah.
That is my favorite feeling in the whole world.
Oh, man. I'm so lucky to have been so many places with you.
Me too.
And
back at
seeing
ya.
you be so excited, because I always get super excited too. You take it to the next level. But, you know, it's nice to have somebody bounce that excitement off with me, because I usually just tend to, like, kind of tone it down a little bit. Like, know the room. I try to know the room a little bit, you know? Yeah. And if I'm the only one, like, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, maybe it's a little intense for people right now, but you don't give a shit. You just do it anyway.
I do it. I try, you know, I have had people be like, you're being too intense for me right now. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But I don't stop doing what I'm doing. I just am like, I'm going to go do my thing over here, because I'm not going to deny myself this energy. If you want to participate in it, or whenever you're ready to experience my level of excitement, I'll be over here. You know, like, and I'm happy I have a buddy to do that with too.
It's so fun.
It is. It's so nice. It's great. Just fucking, like, freaking out about everything, especially on our drives, you know? We'll just, like, it's the smallest thing sometimes. We're like, look at the size of that tree, and we're just driving through neighborhoods, and I'm all emergency stop, and
emergency stop. Yes. Yes. Yeah, because it's the little shit. I mean, God, story. We have pulled off on the side of the road. We were up near Mount Rainier, and there was a really cool view with this pull off. So I'm like, oh, we're pulling off. We're going to see this view. And we noticed that the gravel was like a bunch of quartz. There was just quartz all up in the fucking gravel.
And, like, mica encrusted rocks.
And we...
fucking crystals all over the ground.
We sat there on the ground
2.5 hours.
for, like, a really excessively long time.
On our stomachs, on the side of the road.
On our stomachs. Like, if there was, like, a microphone that was just recording the audio of the situation, we'd be like, wow, look at this. Oh, wow. No way. Wow. Like, the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
It's great.
And
it's
then
so fun.
Both of our bags were really heavy getting back, and we had to dump
yes.
rocks out,
yes.
as, you know.
Now we've learned. Now we bring Ziploc bags with markers, so that way we can label them from different areas or whatever.
Through a pile and be like, this one came from...
Yeah. But I remember I had a big, giant purse, and I just dumped everything out in the back seat, and I just had the empty purse, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna fill it with rocks. And we filled the whole fucking thing up. Like crazy people. But I love that you love that. Like, you find so much joy in that. And actually, the same thing in Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
When there was that little tiny, like, there was, like, an abandoned old house.
It was like an old cottage.
Yeah,
you know?
and it was just off on the side of the road, and we're like, wow, cool, abandoned old little building. Let's go check it out. And we check it out, and it's so awesome. And then when we're walking to the car, we realize, okay, it's not just, like, the cloudy quartz that we have out here. This was, like, sparkly,
like,
tiny
crystal. Like
quartz
an actual
points.
quartz point crystal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And when we realized that, we were like, oh, you guys are all fucked. Sorry, we're going to have to take care
and
of
some
this
of the people
real
we
quick.
were with were like, okay, it's time to go. And we're like, okay. And we're walking backwards to the car, still on the ground, picking up as much as we can, as fast as we can.
We're coming. We're almost there. Like, oh, shit. Look. Oh, my God. It's so funny. But, you know, that just goes to show how we really do appreciate every little fucking thing. And, you know, I understand not everybody has the capacity to give that much of a shit about every fucking rock or every castle or whatever. But we were traveling, and one of our friends, we kept doing, like, calling out while you're driving around, like, castle, there's a castle. And one of our friends was like, yeah, I mean, like we've already seen so many castles. Like you see a
Yeah, they're
castle,
all
you see
the
them all
same,
basically.
yeah.
Like at this point, they're all the same.
Which
and
I
was
understand, but I don't understand. I understand for some people, but they're not all the same. All of it's so different. You know, they're not like when you walk out through suburbia and you see all the Edward Scissorhand houses that are literally cookie cutter formations of the next house. These are all like, they're castles that somebody built stone by stone with a bunch of other people. Like, it's crazy.
So I want to look at every fucking castle because every castle is unique and different and special. And you want to look at every castle also, which is why we're such incredible travel buddies, because we are always, always on the same fucking page as far as what we want to see and the things that we love. And I mean, every single trip that we've taken, we are just like on the same page, and we'll take as long as possible at any place if we have the time, if we don't have like time restraints or whatever, because we are living in that moment.
We'll get out and be like, okay, we're gonna run around this castle as fast as we can and touch all of it, and then we'll get in the car.
And then we gotta go.
But like, we still take the time to do it, even if we only have a second, which is nice. I like that. Which is how we do like 80 million things in one day. It's great.
We do so much. And we have matching tattoos. And they both say, take the long way home. Because, show them your tattoo.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah. We have matching tattoos. Yeah, it's take the long way home, because we always fucking do. We never are just like, okay, we're ready to go home. Let's just go home. Like, that is not in our vocabulary.
We even drive down the mountain only to remember that sunset's happening, and so we drive all the way back up the mountain.
Sometimes you drive back up the mountain.
Because you're like, oh, I shouldn't have left. That was silly. That was silly.
Stupid. God, when we were catching the sunset at Mount St. Helens.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's the time I totally was just referencing.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was thinking of the time at Rainier.
Yeah.
But yeah, both of those. Now we know better. When we're on top of a mountain, you fucking stay for sunset. Because, I don't know, we were just like, okay, we did all this stuff. We're going to go down and look at other things. But we're like, we fucked up. We fucked up. We got to go back up the mountain. And I got a Mini Cooper, and it's fast. So we zoom. We will zoom. Yeah. I zoomed up.
Sure did.
Helen's on that one. That was so fun. That was really fun. I was like, are you okay? Am I scaring you? And she's like, no, man, let's do it. Let's get there. I was like, yes. I'm a good driver, so I felt confident in the abilities to not fly.
And the roads weren't wet, it was fine.
It was fine conditions, but yeah, that was really fun. That was really fun. I was zooming. I don't even know how fast I was going up that fucking mountain. And we did not run out of gas, so good job, us.
Sure didn't.
We almost ran out of gas that one time. But no, we've just seen so many awesome things. But I would say out of all the trips that we've been on, I feel like the ruins in Crete was just the best shit that we could experience.
That's probably going to be one of the best times of my life forever. Just that spot, too. I will always have a huge piece of my heart. And I leave little pieces of my heart everywhere, but that one has a huge piece
And you know what's so cool is our plan is to live there.
Yeah.
To move and to live in Crete. Or perhaps Athens, but really we're really leaning more towards Crete, and there's just so much amazing energy and so much history there, and just imagining living among that and having that be in our backyard essentially.
Yep.
Like, people travel from all over the world to go see that stuff, and if that's just like a day drive or whatever, that's where it's at. You know, I left a little piece of my heart there too, and we're going to go retrieve it. We'll retrieve it. Oh, man. It's such an amazing world, and it's so important to keep going and see all of it. And I'm glad that is your passion in this world too, is just to make sure that you keep going.
See as much as I can, learn as much as I can, and specifically old stuff. I love ruins and the ancients. Because I really resign in that. That's my choice of energy, and it doesn't mean ancient civilizations any less than it does a really fucking beautiful mountain, where I'm like, wow, you know, just old energy is just very beautiful.
No, I feel like both hold so much importance and glory. in similar yet different ways.
And wisdom,
Yeah. I mean, as far as the earth goes, I mean, the earth has created art all on its own, and we are so lucky to be able to witness this. So that has its own special energy where it's like nobody did this. This is just what the earth did all on its own, and look at how amazing that this is.
Yeah.
But then seeing the ruins and stuff, it's like, oh no, people did this. Like people actually with their hands carved all of these things, hand fucking carved everything. Every stone was placed by hand. Seeing these mosaics, like somebody's hand placed every single one of these things. I know, me too.
One day I'll have a piece of paper that says I'm allowed to, so I don't get yelled at.
I'm sorry. I know.
I know to be gentle. I just want to go.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
Which, we got to touch the Rosetta Stone, and now they put plexiglass around it.
Because of you.
I mean, it could have potentially.
They were going to do it anyway. You just got lucky is really what it is.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, sometimes you just gotta touch it. You gotta feel it. And, like, I feel like some people are touching these things without having that understanding of its importance. And if everybody touched everything, it would erode things more. And I understand why they're like, don't touch the thing. But I want to be like, but you don't understand. I understand why I need to touch it in the way in which I do safely. But, like, you don't understand what it means to us.
Yeah.
It means
and the
more
thing is
to
they
us.
do. They do understand because they went into the same profession for the same reason. Which is why it's our responsibility in order to help preserve the history to get a piece of paper that says we're allowed to.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's allowed to, and I get it. I totally get it.
Yep.
And most people aren't going to take care of it. People are assholes. So I understand the preservation, which is why it is my goal to be like, ha! I have this piece of paper that says I get to go in here. Fuck all of you guys. I'm going to touch all of it, like, I'll do it gently. I'll do it with gloves on, but, like, it's not because of us that we're not allowed to do that. But I am more than happy to do and excited to go through the procedure of being allowed to put my hands on the things that I just want to fucking hold and cry about for a second,
Gosh, it would be so amazing. And hopefully we're able to go to school for free in Greece, and we can actually get degrees in this field that we love, and then we will be able to be like multi-pass coming through
100%. Yep. It'll be a multi-pass.
I want a fucking multi-pass. I need to go to Pompeii with my multi-pass and be like, what now?
Yep,
bitch. But more than anything, I just want to know all of it, like the whole Matrix where they like download was like, I know how to fly a helicopter now or whatever. I know kung fu. Like, I wish it was that easy to just, like, plug in and then have all this fucking knowledge. Because there's so much knowledge in the world and there's so little time to learn.
That's why you got to pick the ones that are the most important.
It's too much.
It is too much. And we'll never know everything. And that's okay, though, because time is infinite. Even if, as Sami, you won't know everything, you're still going to eventually get there.
I know. It's fine.
So
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
But on this earth,
we all wish we could download information. I wish we could too, because people would be a whole hell of a lot smarter if they could. So,
Yeah, I know. But a lot of people don't want to put the work in and actually work for it. But at this point, I feel like I've got to.
Yeah.
Or I'll regret it. And I don't do regrets. I don't have regrets in my life. And I don't want a regret later on down the line and just be like, man, I was so passionate about it and I just didn't put the work in. I was just too lazy to fucking do it. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Good. And if you do that, I'll be like, psh, psh.
But
I'll white glove you.
The one thing that will be challenging, though, is going to school in Greece where some of the classes are taught in Greek. That's going to present a big challenge.
It's going to be hard. We're going to be fucking pissed off sometimes, but we can do it. If other people can and have done it, a lot of other people can and have done it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
And so many people, especially Europeans, speak multiple languages.
Yeah. We got it.
It can be done.
We got it. It's not, we're definitely going to be challenging ourselves, but that's also the beauty of it. I'm really excited for a challenge that is different. that I've never gotten to do anything like what we want to do. And I'm really excited for the challenge of that, not only education, which is something I don't have, and, you know, like being in another country and having to speak another language, and like what a wonderful challenge. It's gonna suck. I know there's gonna be times where I went to school and I'm gonna be like, I didn't understand anything that they said. And that was the hardest day I've ever had, you know? Like, it's going to be a thing, but it's okay because I know I can do it. And fortunately, that's what the lady said when me and Dusty were talking to the lady at school, where I was a lot more hesitant about the decision. I was like, I'm really scared about it. And she looked at me and was like, you want to do this so bad, I believe that you can do this. I believe that if you want this bad, you can do this. And I was like, it was this kind of like, okay, I can. Like, I fucking got this. It's going to be really hard. And, you know, maybe I do decide I want to do something else, but that's okay. That's the beauty of life. I don't have to do it. If I don't want to, I don't have to. But I know with my fucking entire being that, like, this has been what I've always really wanted to do. I just didn't really understand that there was a profession for it. I took the easy way out doing the career that I've chosen, which is not the easy way out, turns out. But still, you know, I fell into that. I have to have it figured out by this time because this is what you're supposed to do. And I don't. I you know, get to be one of those people that's like, maybe when I'm 50 years old, I'm still taking classes, because that's not where life doesn't end until we're dead. So I have all of this time to choose what I want to do and all this time to learn about all of these things. And as long as I'm productive about it, I get to, you know, which is why, you know, you and me sit and watch documentaries like pretty much predominantly, you know, and we take classes on our own that are free. That we're not learning all the stuff that we want to learn, but we're still doing the work, you know, and
we're at least learning a lot more than we knew before.
That's a big
pandemic.
deal to do with it awesome. Too, is like, you know, like we're choosing that knowledge and knowing the things that we want to know, even if we don't get a piece of paper, like with all these classes. We did it because we want to know these things.
You know, and that's what I was saying too. Even if I don't actually get a degree, it's not as concerning to me to have the piece of paper or not. Like, I would love to be able to have that. But at the same time, if I just come out of these classes with a vast amount of knowledge, I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm totally happy with just having the knowledge. And of course, I would love to be able to have that piece of paper that says I officially know what the fuck I'm doing, you know, maybe to get hired for doing things. But yeah, I just want to learn it all. That's the goal, is to just learn as much as possible in this life. That for me, that is the number one goal, is traveling and learning. So I'm glad to have a buddy on that too.
Me too. Oh man, whenever I tell people like what I'm planning on doing, that's like the pinnacle of it. I'm like, and I don't have to do it alone. It's a fucking miracle, you know, because a lot of people do it alone. And I got really lucky to have somebody who's like one of the closest people in my entire life to me want to do very similar things that I want to do. So even if we're going to be doing our own thing at the same time, I'm still not in it by myself, you know, because that's really what's intimidating, is like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, you know? And then I'm like, but I don't have to do it by myself. I have a team. Like, I have a team of people, and it's great. Like, it's, you know, I have to do my part.
We both care so much. And I think that being on a team with somebody else that is as excited about the knowledge, it's not like, you know, I don't know, for example, if people go to the community college and they're like, I don't even know what I want to do. I'm just doing general studies. So I'm in this, like, math class, you know? And it's like, there's nothing exciting about that if you're not already excited. If you want to go be a math wizard, fantastic. You're probably pumped about it. You might not give a shit about English class. Whatever, you know? So like, I see so many people that take these just boring classes that they have to take, and it's really cool because in Greece we don't have to take any of the bullshit classes that are irrelevant to what it is that we're doing. So it'll be more focused on the passion that we have.
And I'm sure there's going to be classes that I'm not going to enjoy. That I might be like, I'm excited about this. I'm sure this will exactly happen. Where it's like, I'm excited about this class, and then I'm like, this class sucks. You know, like that's just the way that it goes. You know, and we're gonna have to learn things we don't want to learn because it does help, and that's just the way that it is. You know, and that's okay. You know, like we fucking got this, and we'll be able to. You know, like we're still learning about something. You know, I'm not good at math. Math classes are really hard for me, but I still take math classes every once in a while to be like, it's that challenge. It's that challenging of oneself, you know, which is why it doesn't matter how old you are. There's always time to learn more and challenge yourself. It's why, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are to fucking go to school, you know, and I think it's really, I think it's really good going into life knowing that, because it also means that I can change anything that I want to whenever I want to. I can do something totally different if I want to. If I wake up one morning and I'm like, you know what, this class really inspired me to go do humanitarian work instead, I'm going to go do that. You know? Like...
You know, I gotta say, you really do have the unique benefit of time being on your side.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy and also envious of your position right now, because you are at an age that you have so many more options. So if you were to go into school today, you know, like you would end up having a full-blown career that you could be in for a really long time. You know, the older you get, the harder that it gets, and the more time is gone. And it sucks thinking about that I could be, you know, in my mid to late 40s getting out of school and then trying to start a new career at 50. Not that it can't be done. Of course it can be done. But it's just not as easy as starting a career at 30 or whatever, you know?
You have 30 years to invest in that career before you can't. In the average human life. You know? So, I know people that are in their 60s or late 50s that are still taking classes to do what they want to do. You know? Like, that, as long as we're doing what we want to do, that's really all that matters, you know? And I am very lucky, and it is something I never forget, you know, especially with all the magical people I have surrounding me, you know? I am so lucky to have all of these people who not only make me feel validated in my age, which is something that I specifically wouldn't tell people because I was so devalidated in my age, you know? And now here I am, you know, surrounded by all of these people that remind me of how fortunate I am, you know, but I take it as a responsibility. I have a responsibility to myself and to everybody else to actually make something of who I am. And it's a gift. It's also going to be really hard, you know, and especially with the way that the world is right now, you know. I'm about to see, we're all about to see some crazy shit. I'm about to see some crazy shit, you know, like the world is only getting worse. So, and that's okay.
Yeah, so that's the downside of your extra time that you will unfortunately.
And who knows, maybe I won't have the ability to do all these things that I want to do, but all I can do is try to do them.
Yeah.
You know? So
but you do have that time on your side, and I wish. Okay, let me change the way that I say this. I am so grateful for the way that my entire life has worked out, and it's got me right where I am. So if I had the opportunity to change anything, I wouldn't, because I'm really happy with where I am in my life. But in addition to that, I would have really loved to have figured out what the passion was when I was younger enough to nail it down, because I was passionate about so many things. It was like too many things. I'm like, I don't know, I just want to do everything. I want to be paleontologist, and I want to be a volcanologist, and I want to be an archaeologist, all of these things. I always loved science more than anything. And astronomer, that was the first thing that I was like, I want to be an astronomer. And then I realized it's so much fucking math that I couldn't do it.
Mine was astronomy,
so it ruined me, you know, where I was like, well, fuck, that's what I actually legitimately want to do and what I care about, and I can't. And I know they're like, you can learn anything you want. My mind does not do math in the way that it needs to do.
No, but if
it's just not
if that
me.
was exactly who you wanted to be, like the people that have to become astronauts or like ballerinas or whatever. Like, I know a lot of people that weren't good at the profession that they did, and they had to learn to be good. It's something that you can learn, yes. However, if that is not if you don't want to go through that to do those things, especially math isn't your favorite. It's not necessarily that you don't want to be a math whiz. You just also don't like doing it. So you know, on top of not having the ability to do it as easily as an astronomer does, you know, I'm totally in that boat too. Like, I still take math classes to learn simple fucking math because I just don't get it. I don't. I think it's really fascinating, and I wish I knew a lot about it because I wanted to be an astronomer. Then I was like, oh, it's math. And then I wanted to be a microbiologist, which is also a lot of math. And I was like, fuck. But changing. And then I did all of a sudden one day realize, like, all of the things that I love so much have to do with, you know, like, not all of the things. A lot of my focus is on evolution. I really, really am fascinated. Like, when I was a kid, I used to always say humans are my favorite animals because I'm so fucking fascinated.
That's really cute.
And so, fancy that, I want to be an anthropologist with, you know, an archaeology degree, and I also want to learn a lot about nature as well. So I don't want my school to stop with what I want to do. I want to know about biology. I want to be able to do all these things. I want to walk around and know how the land was formed and be like, wow, like, look at this. And if you look at these trees and how these trees are rotting, it tells you this about the soil, and it tells you why this is this about the soil. And if you look at how the land is formed, this is why the soil has these nutrients. These are causing the trees to grow this way.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want
the whole picture.
I do, about
me too.
everything.
I feel you.
I feel like astronomy, now that I'm older, I feel like astronomy is something that I love learning about space. I love space so fucking much. And it's why it was one of my first fascinations in my craft as well. It was something that I first wanted to figure out was, like, you know, astrology and stuff. I was like, I've always been so fascinated with space. I love it. But, like, I'm here right now, and part of being present is I want to know as much as I can about what is surrounding me presently, you know?
Oh, Joe, you're killing me right now. I wish I had finished my archaeology degree. Archaeoethnoastronomy was my favorite class back in college. Yo.
100% though.
Fuck. Jesus.
That's the thing.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like a class.
And we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
So great.
So it's awesome. And then, like, throughout that career, you know, like, there's going to be so many classes that call to us in different ways that we didn't even know about.
That's
that we were like,
yep.
Wow, like, I'm taking this one class and that I'm really excited about, and then I hate it. Or, oh, okay, I'm taking this class, I don't really know what this word means or, like, what I can expect to learn. And then apparently that's what strays my career, and I decide I want to do that one thing.
Yep.
You know, like, it's
there's so
neat.
many different little, like, offshoots of these degrees, you know, like there's, like, I was watching something the other day, and they're funerary archaeologists, where they specifically focus on, you know, on ancient burial practices. And I'm like, bitch, that's what I want to fucking do.
Me too.
Like, that's what I want to do.
Digging up the bones and, like, the rituals behind stuff specifically, I am extremely fascinated by with so many different cultures. Like,
I love it. I think it's so fucking cool. And as much as I love, you know, just the architecture of the time and all of it,
no, it's I feel that ritual.
Like that would
magic.
really, really get me. Like, if I could be a part of that, which is why specifically Pompeii has been my goal forever, to work at Pompeii. That's my number one, like, career goal of my life, somehow, some way. And I want to be a part of that. I mean, they're excavating shit all the time, and they're finding all of this cool stuff, and I want to be a part of that. I mean, so many sites, they're fantastic, but they're already excavated. But this is, like, the treasure trove of our lifetime. And it's got another 225 years on it.
Definitely
average,
one of them,
though.
know? With all the snow melt and stuff, all of the Viking things and all the Celtic stuff, we're learning a lot more about them that we didn't know except for from Roman priests. You know, so a lot of the knowledge that we have about those types of things were written by the enemy. And we had to decipher the way things were by finding limited things that we have. Yes, it's sad that the ice is melting. Cool thing is, we're about to learn a lot more about these cultures that we had no idea about. You know, and there's like, I was talking to my friend the other day who was living in South America, who was around these pyramids that are, like, half uncovered. They, like, went and started excavating these pyramids, funding dried up, and now there's all of this fucking shit that still needs to be dug up, you know? It's like stuff like that. We're living on top of so many, you know, fucking generations upon generations of stuff that is completely undiscovered. Like,
Oh yeah.
We're going into this career at the perfect time because we have the technology now to know not necessarily what's under the ground, but that something's there. So we're not going to be digging in a place to be like, there's nothing here.
That's true.
You know,
yeah,
like
LiDAR
we're in
definitely
it where it's like
really is making a huge difference.
yes, where it's like this is where you have to dig. You will find something, and I'm like sick. I know that if I do this career, I am guaranteed to find something with the technology that we have to be able to find the things. I am guaranteed to dig up a half a piece of pot, which is going to be the best day of my life, only to find 8,000 more half pieces of pots. So,
yeah, man, there's so much more to see. Like we keep finding more and more and more as we go, and we're so lucky to have as many sites that we have found that are just a part of our culture right now. But who knows what has yet to be found?
Yes,
and that's the coolest part of this.
And then you find the
career.
one thing that rewrites history.
Yeah. Somebody's got to find it. Somebody's got to be the one to find it.
So
I want to find it. I want to find it so hard.
we're going to find it.
And I want to teach people. I want to teach. I want to share this knowledge with other people who are as excited. So I think that we have a lot of really cool stuff ahead of us right now. Whistling cheeseburgers and giant pretzels and whatever, you know, and there's really fantastic rewards in that as well.
Yeah.
But we're more than that.
Yeah.
We're more than that. And this world is so vast and it needs more scientists right now.
It does.
It needs more people.
Which is cool. I'm
doing
happy
science.
to be participating in that yearn. And you know, if the world ends tomorrow or if I die tomorrow, at least that passion's there. I'm not worried about what I'm able to do. All I know is as long as I'm driven, I will accomplish as much as I possibly can. And if I die tomorrow, today, I would not have any regrets if I did. You know?
Yeah.
And no matter how much I learn, no matter what I do, I'm always going to be able to know that if I die the next day, I'll be fine.
Yep. As long as we keep trying.
Yes, that's literally all it is. Keep trying.
You know, the whole American dream is to just get a career. Even if you don't like it, you don't even need to have something you like. You just do the thing and do it continuously until you fucking die, basically. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole, you know, that's supposed to be the dream, is to just get some job, you know, at some office, but it pays good so you can support your family that you may or may not even want, but you're told that you should probably have. And you have to just work your ass off and be tired every day until you hopefully retire. And then you get to finally do things that you want to do. I feel like it's such bullshit.
It's how the selfish ones trap you. Because they want it.
That's horrible.
Because there's not enough to share.
I mean, if that's what people genuinely want, then that's fantastic. Like, everybody gets what they want. Some people are more just, like, simple people, too. And it's easy to just follow the mold. Follow the script.
Well, and the people that want kids, that are, like, gonna be good parents, I want them to want kids and be good parents. Because
Of course.
we're gonna reproduce, and those are the types of people that need to be having kids. Everybody else needs to stop having kids unless you really want a kid and want to take care of a kid.
I completely agree with you.
So I'm like, please want to do that because that's one of the most important jobs in the whole world, and we are not doing good when it comes to raising humans. Look at where we are.
Nope.
Lots of really, really selfish kids that you should slap on the face.
Yep. And now we have some changing laws right now in Texas in September. Oh, now it's September. So I don't know when in September. Yeah, great.
Surprise!
Abortions are illegal after 6 weeks of conception. 6 weeks. Let's just
Arkansas
make
did
everybody
something like
have
that.
a bunch of fucking... Was it?
I think earlier this year when it first happened, they were one of the first places to pass that.
The fucking South, man.
Yep.
The fucking South. Can we just, like, draw a line and just give it to them? Take it.
I mean, they kind of are doing
But
that.
at the same, but I feel like gross that I'm part of this country with people that are acting like that. It's really horrible.
I do too. It's shameful. I just have to remember.
Oh, it went into effect today.
Oh,
it's too bad.
No, it's fucking repulsive, and I'm ashamed, and I'm ashamed knowing it's not just this country, it's people. More so with this country because we sucked. And we kind of always did, but this last year, damn. Like, we fucked up, man. We did pretty bad, and, you know.
And you know what sucks is we were planning on not being in this country anymore right before the election. Our plan was to leave last October. It was to move to Greece.
I'm
That
really
was our
grateful
plan.
we're here still, though,
Me
because
too.
it would be really hard being in another country, being an
Me too. I
American,
agree.
not
I
understanding
agree.
the lay of the land or who to talk to, not having support. Like, I am so grateful to be here right now.
Yep. Dusty said, aside from politics, what about those ghost stories? Anyway, we didn't go
Whatever,
deep
we
into
already
it.
talked
It was
about
just
ghost
it
stories.
was a side note. Anyway, that is anyway. Yeah, fuck, I know. Fucking Texas.
Anyway, we're here to cheer you up and then crush your dreams.
Yes.
That's the end of our show.
Yeah. No, we specifically avoid political discussions. That was just something that I just felt like, I don't know. Just felt like we should throw that out there because we're talking about overpopulation of the world and, you know, the American dream, the American fucking dream. And everybody's dream is different. And it's okay that everybody has different dreams. And that's what makes the world go round, because somebody wants to go be a machinist and work on machines and plants. And I don't want to do that at all, you know? And I'm glad that everybody's so unique and so different. And everybody plays a really important role in the world. And nothing is, I can't say better or worse because everything has its function. But doing something that has to do with scientific discovery, I feel like is so important. Things are moving forward so fast, and science is evolving so much, especially with the understanding of the universe. So I got to say, with astronomy, it is definitely a shame that we weren't able or willing to take the time to invest into that, because we are just learning so much more. Talk about discovery right now. It's like,
It's cool.
it's so cool. So much is changing and we're learning so much.
There was kind
Oh
of
my
a
God.
lull in exploration for a little while, you know? Like, after we kind of took over the whole world, there was this lull. And I'm young, and when I was in school, I remember one of my history teachers that I really disagreed with. He's the one that I bitched out. But being like, well, there's still places to explore, but, like, as far as, like, the way explorers were back in the day when we read storybooks, it's not like that anymore. And then space shit fucking took off.
Yep.
And it's like, yes, talk about
Yes.
exploration, you know,
I know.
like walking
Well,
into the unknown.
The fucking Hubble changed
yeah.
everything.
It did.
It changed so much because it was eyes in the sky. And so many things were theorized, and we had these telescopes, but they weren't fantastic telescopes before. I mean, they were reasonably decent.
Yeah, but it was the blurry, like 8-bit video game fucking looking, like, you know.
I mean, there
Where
was observatories
they're showing
and
you,
such,
like,
but-
oh, this is this really far away planet, and you're like, is it though?
Yeah. Yeah, like the Orion Nebula.
Yeah, totally.
It's just like,
Yeah.
fuzzed out. But now to be able to see, like,
Yeah, you don't have
so
to have
far
just
back,
trained eyes
so
to
far
see
back.
what it is now.
and now
Yeah.
understanding too about like gravitational lensing and stuff, and how we're able to see objects that are that far away where it's bending the light. Like, understanding this and being able to apply it to what it is that we're seeing is so fucking fantastic. And I'm so happy to be alive at this time of the world, of humanity. What?
Dusty.
Oh, yeah.
China is building a ladder to Mars, so that'll be helpful. Are you climbing that ladder? That
We
sounds
talked
like
about it on Monday. It
forever.
was one of our stories on the Monday thing. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of varying, let's see, beliefs on whether we should be doing this much space exploration and whether this much money should be spent on doing these things. I understand both positions. I understand people like, we should work on our planet here as opposed to spending all this money elsewhere. But I am such an advocate for space exploration and learning and growing as the human race.
Yeah.
I support us transcending these boundaries that we have right now. Yes, some of this money could definitely go towards helping our fucking planet. And do I think that some of these people should do that? I do. But that doesn't take away from the fact where we should just not explore the cosmos in the way that we want to.
And when it comes
think
to
it's
money,
important.
there's more than enough money to explore the cosmos and take care of our brothers and sisters.
Yep.
There's plenty. We have all the money in the world to do those things.
Priorities are pretty skewed. Everybody's sitting on fucking mounds of money right now, you know. But I think it is very cool that within our lifetime, or at least within my lifetime, I forgot when exactly Hubble went up, but as soon as that went up,
30 years old.
30 years old. 30. So I was fucking 10 years old when that shit was launched. And when I was a kid, super young, you know, we didn't have these images to truly be able to appreciate it in that kind of way. And now it's like there's all these new images coming, and now we have the fucking new telescopes coming out.
Yeah.
Which is going to be so fucking awesome.
This Halloween.
Halloween. Yep.
Oh, sick.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
I know. And we've been waiting for so fucking long, and this is going to be even better. So I am just so excited that we have been able to learn so much, and we had some brilliant minds like Carl Sagan and Stephen Hawking and, you know, all these theoretical physicists right now who are really trying to think outside of the box.
Dusty. Yeah, it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Everybody is so excited. We're so excited.
I'm so excited.
We're about
It's
to
great.
see things we've never seen.
I know. It's so great. I know. And just us being able to find all these exoplanets and everything, like actual proof of these exoplanets is so awesome. So I remember when they were first like, we have the first confirmed exoplanet, like confirmed. That was so fucking exciting. Maybe 2010 or 2009 or something like that. And now it's just like, oh yeah, exoplanets left and right. Here you go. Bam, 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 bam. This one might end up being a second Earth. This one's actually more Earth-like than the other one that we found. Now there's just an abundance of stuff that we're finding. And I'm just so grateful to be alive at the time where these things are coming into focus, literally.
Yeah. Didn't.
Literally. It's fucking awesome. I'm so happy. So it is sad to me that I'm not a part of this field that is part of the discovery process, but it's okay because I'm so intrigued by it that I stay as much up to date as I can, and I'm following all of the new things, and I feel like I'm still a part of it, even though I'm not actually scientifically a part of it. I'm appreciating it, and it keeps my ass in check a lot because so many people, they're just floating around on this earth, and they're just everything's so fucking important. Every little thing here on Earth is the end of the world or whatever. And it's like, we are just floating in the fucking cosmos, in this magical, incredible fucking cosmos.
Yeah, dude.
And that is what's really happening right now.
Anytime I
That's what
need
really
a happy
matters.
reminder, that is something I do. And I love to go down that rabbit hole where I feel like I am embodied by that. Where it's almost intimidating. Like, I'll go so far down that rabbit hole of reminding myself how crazy everything is, where all of a sudden I feel this fucking big. And I'm like, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
And the chaos, there are, like, that is what we as a universe have been built on. It's just cosmic chaos. And I love it. It's so weird and random.
Me too. Me
Just
too.
like, what?
Yeah. Where we keep finding things that we're like, what? Like, this exists right now? Like, God, I love how much more that we're finding out all the time where we're like, wow, didn't see that coming. Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah, all the time,
Fantastic.
every day. Like, well, that happened.
Yeah. And here we are, just living in this one reality. But right now, as we are sitting here talking, there are somewhere in this universe, stars are exploding right now.
Yes. Smash.
Like,
There's
exploding.
planets being smooshed by big, giant asteroids right now. And
Right now.
fucking, like,
Right now.
yeah, stars exploding. It's crazy, dude.
Right now.
Right now. In this moment.
Dude, looking at some of the sizes of these star-forming regions, these nebulas, like the pillars of creation.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that for a second?
Yes, we absolutely can.
I don't have. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say it's about 30,000 light years across.
Something like that.
It's massive.
I want
massive,
exact numbers though, so let's
massive.
look up exact numbers.
Okay. It's fucking massive. 30,000 light years. A year. Traveling at the speed of light for 30,000-ish, whatever, however many fucking years.
They're 4 to 5 light years long. And the nebula spans 55 to 70 light years.
Okay, so that was not as big as I recalled, but still.
Okay, but it's a light year, so
75
it's the
light
same
years?
thing in my human tiny mind. I'm like, okay, 75 light years and 300 light years are kind of the same in my brain.
75 light years.
Unfathomably big
Yes.
are these fucking pillars.
That's longer than well, I would say that's about an average human lifespan traveling at the speed of light, which we can't even fucking do yet. And then you would only have went from one end to the other of this one very specific region that is a part of this vast web that has billions and billions of galaxies that contain this shit left and fucking right.
It's not even the biggest. There's bigger ones.
Yeah.
There's ones that are like 10 times that big.
Oh my goodness. The star comparison videos.
Oh, I know. I love those.
I've watched it so many fucking
Me
times.
too. I know the exact one you're talking about
Yep.
too. There's a bunch of really good ones, but there's that one specific that is so fucking epic.
It's so fucking amazing.
It's crazy.
If any of you are interested, please check that out. It is amazing. Just do like star size comparison on YouTube. It's unfucking believable. And that's just a star. That's just a single fucking star. It's so magnificent. It's so magical and so fucking magnificent that we are a part of this. And I think if more people thought about these things as often as I do, they would not be as concerned about the little fucking things in the world. Because it's the big. You talk about the big picture, that's the biggest picture.
And then you think about all the other universes that are happening all at the same time.
Fucking A. So then we go even bigger into multiverse theory.
And then you go even bigger to like dimensional things, you know? There are things that, like, God.
And you've got Big Bang, Big Crunch. You have to think about that as well. So we're expanding, and everything is what it is right now. But how many times has it crunched and expanded over and over and over and over? Because, I mean, we're not that far into it, you know, really, of this universe. And how many fucking times, you know? How many times has this happened, and will this continue to happen? So it's all the same shit, just getting smooshed back in, and everything's happening again, and you're just throwing the dice and see what happens this time. And how many different life forms exist out there in this vastness of space. I still find it hard to believe that some people truly believe that we are the only species in the entirety of the universe.
I don't, because
it's
we're
crazy to
baby.
me.
We're baby species. So, and I don't, even though, yes, it's crazy to me because I feel like it's such an old world thought. It's really scary for some people, and I see how young we are. I also think it's why, you know, any alien visitors we are having, where people are like, they don't exist because they would have like given us signs of some kind. First off, lots of people have signs.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of
Second
signs.
off, if I was an alien species, I'd be like, they're not really ready for this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're just gonna try to shoot us with their nukes, which we would under
150%.
certain circumstances.
Which is also
Like,
why I think that,
Jesus.
you know, like,
Jesus Christ.
a lot of it's been hidden from the public until literally, was it this year? Last year? It was last year. It's all the same. Both years, last year and this year meshed together for me. But seriously, you know, like, it's just coming to light for a lot of people. So, and soon, which we already kind of are, you know, we're going to be the aliens invading other places. Like Mars.
Absolutely. Yep. I just have a hard time understanding how people can think that we are alone, and that all of these reports of these visitations can all be bullshit. It's just I know a lot of people, it is scary to them, but it's just so sad to me that people are willing to dismiss
Oh,
an
absolutely.
entire portion of existence just because we don't understand it. And it honestly terrifies me what we are going to do, and the kinds of reactions that we are going to end up having and what that could mean for us. You know, I personally do believe that we have been visited by multiple different species from different places. And sure, some of them have, most likely would have better intentions than others, you know? But, you know, if we are observing an ant colony or whatever, you know,
Yeah, you'll
what are we
have
gonna
that
do?
one person that smashes the fucking ant colony, and you'll have somebody else that's like David Attenborough being like, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at the little ants. Look at that guy. He's lifting up a leaf, you know? Like,
Absolutely. So I don't know. I don't know what the intention would be or why they're observing or what they're doing, but I wouldn't jump right to the conclusion that it is harmful or aggressive. But people react when they're under attack. So if we start attacking these things, I mean, it's kind of awesome because they've shut down a lot of our weaponry when there have been sightings over military areas.
yeah, we're like little
completely
toddlers
shut
throwing a
down.
temper tantrum that they're like,
Yeah. 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 Yep.
you'll just sit in the corner.
Yeah. And I think that's so awesome. Like, good. I'm glad you can shut this shit down. Shut this shit the fuck down so we don't attack. But if these species are actually visiting us, which I believe they are, I mean, they're vastly beyond our our technological advancement and evolutionary understanding. So how can we begin to understand that creatures can exist without wanting to be hostile when we are the most hostile species
Yeah.
on our planet?
And I bet you $1 million that there's even more hostile species.
Yes, there probably is. There probably is.
And then one day we might get a taste of our own medicine.
You know, I wouldn't be fucking surprised at all, to be
That'd be the biggest karma.
honest. At this point, I'm really proud of humans for doing what we've done, and we're learning so many things, and there's some really fantastic humans that are making a good contribution to this planet. And there's a lot of us who are more self-aware and are evolving in a way that is really productive with us trying to work together. But as a whole, humans are fucking assholes. And I hope that that changes, but I don't really see it happening too much. So if there are other species watching and observing and hoping that we're going to turn around and do the right thing, maybe some of us are going to, and the rest of us, you know, don't have a lot of hope
Yeah.
for humanity as a whole. The knee-jerk reaction to just like go knock over the monuments and shit like that, when people started doing that, which, you know, whether it was an art display or not, it was mysterious at the time and nobody knew what the fuck it was. That was so awesome during quarantine. We're like, there's just like alien monuments popping up all over. But then there's these fucking bros knocking it down and fucking kicking it and punching it. And like, what the fuck? Like, okay, there it is. There it is. Sorry. Like, I'm not like that. You're not like that. But this is how the humans are presenting right now. So it's fair game at that point.
Especially right now when everybody's so afraid of everything. And everyone has to be bigger than the big picture. Like, it's pretty bonkers. But
It's bad.
we wouldn't do that. And that's the most important.
We wouldn't. We definitely would not. And I do think that there is an evolution of consciousness, and it is dividing. And there's certain people on this planet that are just of more primitive mindset. And I personally believe it might have something to do with old souls versus new souls, or maybe not. Maybe it's some kind of genetic implantation, or is it some kind of like intuition or lack thereof? I don't know exactly what the factors are, but there's a huge divide, and we're seeing it a lot with political things right now. But I think it's vastly larger than this political divide. I think that it's an evolution of the mind, and everybody's not caught up.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're like
There's
all knowing beings or anything
no,
like
there's
that.
a new sun cycle and transition happening, and some people are quicker to adapt and evolve than others. There's a lot of old world thinking. But at the same time, I always think to myself, how can I necessarily blame them with all the brainwash tactic that have been around for centuries?
It's true.
Like, people are lost because there's nobody to help find them but themselves, and when we're left to our own vices, we're more than likely to fail without help. So it's why I am excited for the people that are doing things to help in all of the different ways, whether it is straight up helping with humanitarian things and helping places where they can, or the people that are inventing things, or the people that are exploring, or the people that are sitting down doing all the code work for all of these things, or the person that's bringing the person coffee to do the code work things. You know, like, there are really amazing people, and sometimes it's the little guys that are the most. So, but it's definitely outweighing. There's, you know, we're not balanced. There's not equally as many of those guys as there is the other guys, but that's okay. That's kind of how it goes. We are created from chaos.
So I'm curious what your personal thoughts are on alien travel. I don't want to just say space travel. So obviously nobody knows. This is all theoretical stuff. But what are your thoughts on the ways that these beings are able to physically manifest here on this planet? Do you think that it's like a warp zone type of thing? Like, is it folding space time? Do you feel like it has something to do with going in and out of black holes? Do you feel like they have just been able to, I don't know, like, what do you think? What are you thinking?
Yes.
All of the above.
Yes, honestly. I think
That's
that seeing how our evolution is going to be the way that we do it, I think that there are many different ways to do one thing. As long as the end result is the same, then they have done it right. But I think that they do all of it. I think that there probably are some species that have figured out how to bend that space-time. I think that the best way to bend space-time is a black hole that is literally bending space-time. And we've never been inside of it, but it is totally a theory that if you go in it, it can come out another way. Cool. You know, like, the gravity is so dense that they'd have to, like, get past that. Like, that's, like, extraordinary. It's literally bending space, you know? So I think that that's plausible. Do I know? No. Yes, I think that some interdimensionally travel, which is why that's where I've met my aliens, is through those experiences. And I think that, you know, I think that they do all of it. I think it's all it. Like, I think the only reason that we have an understanding of what we think that they do, even if we don't know, is because it's probably already been done, whether it's been successful or not. So the theory is coming from somewhere, and we're just regurgitating it. And, you know, but yeah, I think the easiest way would be to transcend and be more interdimensional instead of physical. I have a harder time seeing how we could do it or they could do it physically without having any kind of prediction of what technology it would entail to do that feat. I think it would be easier to go via interdimension, honestly, and stuff like that. So,
Sure.
Which is how I've talked to the ones that I have, you know? So I feel like that would be the easiest way, you know? And, but as far as physically, I think that it can be done. Like I just said, I just don't, that's a harder one for me to understand how it could be. Just because, like, space is gigantic, and I'm like, I do not know, with the technology that we have and, like, my understanding of things, how that's even a possibility. But I don't think that it could not be a possibility.
Sure.
I think that all of it is very reasonable.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Questions and expectations and theories and all of that.
Do you have any idea why they are here?
No.
You have any theories on why they give a shit about us here, or how they even knew that we're here? Why do we even fucking matter if we're such unevolved, little tiny fuck up planet?
I think that they were probably not the only ones they're observing, unless we're the first ones that they have found, which would be nearby neighbors. I think that each species probably has a different motive as a whole, not to mention the fact that there's probably individuals within each species that disagree with the entire motive of the situation, like how we do with the world sometimes. So I don't know. I think that, some of them are probably here for greedy reasons. I think some of them are here for other kinds of reasons. Physical reasons totally could be harvesting humans and gaining gold. They totally could be slave reasons. I would not put that past, especially if it's a planet nearby, and knowing that they're going to be closer, even though they're still substantially older than us, they're going to be closer in age to where we are mentally. I could totally see another species being like, this is not good. As far as the older ones, there is a big energetic happening here right now. And I think that if I was wandering by as like a alien species, or was here in responsibility to watch us, maybe they've been here forever, which I do think that we've probably, I think we honestly probably coexist with a lot of these things and don't even know it. I do think that the invasion essentially has already happened. We just don't see it around us because we are very fragile as a species. If anything is trying to be here, they have to be tactful about the situation. Do I think that to them it's like strenuous tact? No. But I think that they've given us little signs like the fucking Phoenix Lights, and shit like that. And then people lost their goddamn minds. And it was a fucking deal. Like, hey, we're going to give them a chance. Let's just fly over Phoenix and, we'll totally see how they react. And I'm telling you, man, it's going to be fine. And then there's the other guy that's like, it's not going to be fine, but we can try it. And then they try it and they're like, okay, never mind.
But you know what they didn't get shot at, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Surprised at that. I'm impressed. That's good.
But the thing is, too, is, I don't know. I think about conspiracy theories where it's well, we've been communicating with them and we have a deal struck with them. I could totally see that happening, too. I could totally see that happening. So I do not know. I do think, though, that they probably all have individual motives like we do. And I think that some of them are probably in it for other reasons. I bet you there's a whole intergalactic conspiracy that happens as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But.
And, ancient alien theory, too, taking that into account, where they kind of helped spark consciousness here on the planet initially anyway, which very legitimately could be the case. So, Joe's saying some of them understand that we are them.
Yes. Which is how I feel
Absolutely.
Like fucking the Arcturians, dude. I 100% think that is the understanding that they have. Which is, from my understanding, why they are here. Is because they see themselves in us. And they want to help us transition. But regardless, something is happening. There is a new level of evolution that is happening. Not only with our technology, not only with our lack of connection with the earth that surrounds us that has been lost, but as well as, everybody's kind of waking up right now, as well as going in a deeper sleep. There is this shift where we have been flipped in the air, which totally happens. This is something that happens all throughout the fucking universe, I'm sure. But right now it is very different. We have had uprisings and stuff like that, but the different kind of the divide that is happening is really extreme. Yeah. Especially with the lack of connection with our surroundings. And I don't know what's going to happen. The suspense has got me on the edge of my seats. Hold on to your butts, everybody. Because, man, it's pretty crazy. But I do think that, I think people are going. I don't think that anybody knows what's going to happen, but I do think that there are some species that are here to help us with good intentions and reach out to those that will listen.
I do as well. I really do.
But I don't think
as
all
well.
of them are, because there's a lot of really scary stories that people have experienced, and you know, I also don't necessarily think it's wrong in certain ways where it's like people have these horror stories. For instance,
Abductions and such.
yes, the guy. What's that movie?
The Stan Romanek.
No, the maybe he's the guy that got abducted and then came back and has the story about being in the spaceship. No, that's the fucking guy who's been followed around. It's like the remake. There's a remake of an actual story of a guy that got abducted.
Oh, the Fire in the Sky.
Yes. So that fucking movie, I was watching real interviews of that guy later in life, and when he came back and he told that story about how it was fucked up, he thinks they were honestly trying to help him, even though it scared him. And he was like, it was really fucked up, but then it got him thinking where he's like, honestly, like, I believe with the technology that they have, that they 100% could have killed me if they wanted to. And he's like, was saying, essentially that he got the feeling from this whatever species that got him that does what we do to other things. He was like an experiment for a second,
Yes.
and then they released him back into the wild, you know, like,
Yes.
but in the moment it was scary, and it took him years. It took him until he was like 40 years later or whatever for him to get this understanding, where he now is looking back on the situation where he's like, I don't think it's right what they did or what they are doing, but I see where they're coming from, because we do that. We take fucking seals from the, Puget Sound, and even though it's like a seal vacation in the aquarium, we still do it. And they're still locked in a fucking cage. They're being fed, they're being taken care of, but it's so that we can observe them and learn as much about them as we can before we release them back into the wild.
Yep.
And like, hearing somebody go through a traumatic experience like that and then be like, I thought it was really fucked up and I thought they were trying to torture me, and then I was really thinking about it, and now I don't know if they actually were. So like, I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Any of these stories that I have heard of, these typical abduction stories, it doesn't sound like they were just trying to torture anybody. It does sound like it was some kind of learning experience, which is exactly the type of shit that we do all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So
and even if they were trying to hurt anybody, we also do that. So like, it's a little more taboo nowadays, but at the same time, like, I don't think it's just human nature. I think that it's probably just nature, and I think that it's fucked up. I don't think it's right. But at the same time, like, I can understand in that way. And like I said earlier, there's probably some species that are specifically in it for, like look at the fucking, like, Taliban and shit. Like, they're scary. They're intentionally trying to hurt people and things. But, like, if there's humans that are like that as well, I think that there's probably other species that are like that as well. I do think that everything coincides. We are not unique to the universe. We just don't understand it.
Yep.
So, but I also think it's that paradox where we are all individually unique as well. I believe that also. Even though they're two completely contradicting statements, they both have purpose, and...
Sure.
But when it comes to this, like, we're definitely not the first, and we won't be the last. So we're just in this weird present time for us.
Yeah,
and how we perceive our time.
We're such little babies here. We just got electricity like 100 and whatever fucking years ago. Like, just got that. So we're just little babies, but we think that we know fucking everything at this point, And
which is where we have failed.
It's like the teenagers that are like, whatever, mom, I don't need you to tell me nothing. So it's harder to control a teenager, so here we are right now. Hopefully we will come out the other side and we will evolve and we will be able to make it to, adult status. But I feel like we're just sitting down here kicking and screaming. And if any of these beings were actually a part of our creation initially, which I would not be surprised if they were, I could see them being very disappointed, like a parent, and just being like, what are you fucking doing?
But
we
then
did
there's
not
also
give you
that parent
consciousness
that's like,
for you to
okay,
act
we're
like
gonna
this.
supervise you.
Yeah.
You know, okay, I can't tell you not to sneak out at night, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set rules. You know, okay, don't sneak out. Instead, tell me, and I need to know who your mom is that you're gonna hang out with. And if there's no mom, I need you to tell me the truth about that. You know, it's like stuff like that. Like, but God, are we a fascinating species? Which is why I love fucking, you know, anthropology and history and all of that shit, you know, and why I will never not give credit to humans. It's why I will never 100% agree with the fact that we are just a living disease. Yes, I do think we're kind of the cockroaches of this planet, you know. However, like, I will not ever lose gratitude for what we have done, because we have done some fucking amazing things.
Absolutely.
You know? But
I
it's
agree.
seeing both sides that gives you a well-rounded perspective.
I 1,000,000% agree. I do distinctly see both sides.
Yeah, truth isn't always beautiful.
I'm very grateful and very proud of humans for what we have done, which is really one of the main reasons why I want to go into the science field that I'm wanting to go into with geology and archaeology. Specifically with archaeology, I want to be able to appreciate the good things that we have done as humans. I want to pay homage to that and actually focus and be like, see guys, we're not that bad. Look at this cool temple that we made thousands of years ago. Isn't that cool? Look at that's cool. You know, I'm trying to convince myself that we're not a complete piece of shit race. And we're not a complete piece of shit race, but sometimes it's hard to remember that.
Especially the older you get, life makes you better and you get stuck in it just like everybody else. So,
you know,
but we're not. There's pros and cons.
There's art.
You know, there's always going to be pros and cons with everything.
There's a lot that
if you
done.
don't have an understanding of the big, well-rounded perspective,
yes.
That's where the paradox of life comes in. It is all like humans suck just as they are fucking great. You know, we have done some fucking amazing stuff that humbles me and makes me cry on a regular basis. I watch documentaries about it all the time, and it's my preferred subject is specifically ancient culture of humanity. However, you know, yeah, then like living through the last couple years, you know, especially lately, you know, like the last fucking 100 years even, it has been like a fucking shit show. But it is what happens, and it seems like a long time to us.
Destroyed in 100 years. How many?
Yeah, and then in the end, we will be destroyed. You know, and it's like it is really sad in the moment, but at the same time, like one day this planet will die too, and then it will mean nothing. And it doesn't matter how much we want it to mean something; it won't mean anything once it's dead. And that's okay. It's actually a beautiful thing. It's not a negative statement, you know? Sure, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know, that's why it's so important to just be here, you know?
I agree.
We just got to be here.
I'm here. I'm riding it out.
Dusty's here. Joe's here.
Yep. You guys are here. Steve Scott's here. We're all here, you know? We're all doing our best to be good humans. At least us in this room, digitally and physically, you know.
It's like, damn, that was rude.
No, I'm just kidding. In the digital room, you know.
Just us in this room right now, that's it.
Yes. Yes. Yes, me and you. But no, it is true. Like, there are some really fantastic humans out there. And I think it's making it that much more special to find those really fantastic humans, because there's so much shit right now to sift through that it's like the cream rises to the top. And I'm so grateful for all of the amazing people that I have got the chance to meet in my life. I've got to meet some really incredible, fantastic fucking people who are the cream that rise to the top. And I have so many friends. I have so many people in this world that I love. That's what really gives me that balance. It's like, wow, I am so lucky to have
and
met
we
so
always
many
find each other
people.
too. Like, I'll walk into a fucking room where I'm like, I'm not going to get along with any of these people. And then there's always those people that are fucking cool. Like, all of the people that gravitate towards each other are meant to find each other. And I would like to say we're few and far between. I'd feel like we're definitely less than the general public. However, I can find somebody I connect with anywhere that I go. Like, unless I'm stuck with one person that I literally don't connect with, no matter how hard I try, then I'm stuck with that one person, and I'm like, well, that sucks, you know. If I'm like the last person on the planet, I'm like, well, I guess we're just gonna be alone.
Which might not be the worst thing in the world.
No, but at
But
the same time, like it's really amazing. There's
It is.
greatness everywhere. We just have to know how to find it, which I think is kind of the goal too. I think that, one of the many goals, I can't say the goal, there's a million, but, we gotta remember to bask in the greatness where it's found.
And it's bringing it back to what we were talking about earlier about gratitude.
Yeah.
And being in the moment and being appreciative for what we
Ooh.
do have.
Speaking of gratitude, if you're still sitting in and listening, what are you guys grateful for? I love asking this question. We don't have to,
Oh, yes,
all
please.
answer right now, but what are some of the things you guys are grateful for right now? Let's live in gratitude.
Yes.
Hooray! What are you grateful for?
Oh, my God. We don't have enough time for that.
One thing.
One thing.
Yeah. Okay, 3 things.
Ice cream is the first thing that I thought
Ooh,
of.
that's a good
And
one.
that's not a very deep thing, but I was thinking about the Ben and Jerry's that's in the fridge. And I you know what? That sounds like a really silly thing, but I will honestly say I'm so grateful for some of these things that we have been able to make as humans that bring so much joy and fucking happiness to my life. I fucking love ice cream. And it's true.
Dusty, you're funny.
No, I mean, obviously, there's a lot more introspective answers than that.
Dude,
but
I'm fucking grateful for ice cream. If
I'm
I
grateful
had
for
$1
ice cream.
for every time ice cream made it the best day ever,
I know. And you know what? I think
I'd have
about
free ice cream.
if there was an apocalypse and we had to put our bug out bags and we had to fucking bail and we had to trek through the woods and live off fucking twigs and berries and shit like that. I gotta tell you, man.
yeah, I'd miss ice cream
I would miss
so
ice
bad.
cream so much.
I don't know how to
And
make a refrigerator, do you?
Fuck no.
Well.
Fuck no. That's the thing. Can you imagine a few hundred years ago? Like, they didn't even know what the fuck that was. They didn't even know. They didn't even know. I'm grateful. Oh, you're grateful for gluten-free pizza. That's awesome.
That is a
answer.
good answer.
It's a good answer. But no, as far as like the real true answer to my heart, I am so grateful that I have remotely working limbs. Even though it's a challenge, I am so glad that I can walk, that I have 2 arms that I can fucking use, and that I have eyeballs that fucking work. All my senses are intact, so I can actually experience this world in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful, honestly, to just exist in this human form, to be able to experience everything, because there's challenges. Everybody has challenges. I mean, I have a fucked up ass knee. It's a fucking challenge, but you know what? I'm not missing my legs. I don't have to sit there and wheelchair up a fucking mountain or not do it. I'm very grateful that I am in one piece and that I have the ability to travel and see the world. So
Absolutely.
that's what I gotta say.
That is a good answer, because if you're not grateful for it, if it was ever taken away, it would make you realize you needed to be. But being grateful
I am
for
grateful
it, if it
for
was
it.
ever taken
Yep.
away, you'll at least remember how grateful you were for that and that you got to experience that.
Yep. And you know,
know?
when I was younger, I used to use this to like snap people out of shit. If people were in a dark loop and people were getting real negative and really sad and they're like, everything sucks, everything's horrible, I'd be like, clap. And I've had people be like, what? And I'm like, clap your fucking hands right now. And they're like, and I'm like, there you go. Some people can't fucking do that. Some people can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I stop for a second. I know shit, it sucks and it's overwhelming, but like, just be grateful at least for this one thing, that you actually have 2 fucking hands and you can do this action.
Yeah.
Like to try to bring perspective to people when
Totally.
they're like lost in a dark loop.
I would do that when people would say they can't do something.
Joe!
Like, whatever. Oh,
Joe
hooray.
is here.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Joe, we're talking about what we're grateful for.
What
Tell
are you
us
grateful for?
What you're grateful for, please. So, in the meanwhile, tell me what you're grateful for, besides ice cream, because we know that you are also grateful for. And you know what? Everybody went into food. Joe said gluten-free pizza. Dusty said cinnamon toast crunch.
Even with shrimp tails in it.
That was funny.
I'm not grateful for this one box.
That was really fucking funny. No, please tell me Oh, Tavia's green hair. I am grateful for that.
Oh,
That's so cute,
you
Joe.
are so sweet.
That's really sweet. That was very, very sweet.
Right now, I feel so grateful for my friends more than anything in the world, especially the last 2 years. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have my friends and my chosen family, specifically my chosen family. It's very, very important to me, and I think about it every day, how much I love the people that I'm around. You know? Yes. I do. Aw, cute. Look, we're gross.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a very wonderful thing to be grateful for. That's very, very special.
That's a big one. And then perspective. I've been really grateful for perspective, especially lately too, because it goes back to what we started talking about, you know, like having the ability to be happy in every moment, even when it's fucking hard. And I am really grateful that I have the ability, especially for my age, to see the world the way that I do and to get to share it with all these people that I love a lot.
Me too.
So we're very lucky. We're all very, very lucky to know each other.
We are. I'm grateful for you. I really am.
Thanks.
Really, really
Grateful for you too.
Okay. There's so much gratitude.
And that includes everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat. I'm so grateful for you guys. You guys are my world right now. And I really appreciate knowing such wonderful people. Even Joe, who's so boring. Mr. Joe Cunningham is so boring. And I'm so grateful for you.
Oh. Yeah, you even said I'm grateful for Twitch, to be honest. Similar to Tayvia, it's been a lifeline these past few years.
It has.
Yeah.
It's been very important. We, you know, none of us would be making it through the way we are. And sometimes for people, that's not enough, you know. And I'm happy to say right now, for me, it's enough. Just to have my friends, even if I'm feeling shitty, you know, I'm surrounded by wonderful people. I always tell people I have the best friends in the whole world. I'm surrounded by like the best and greatest people in the entire world.
Aww.
Which is fucking cool.
That's
I feel so
awesome.
lucky all the time. All my friends are so cool, dude. I'm like sick. I just get to hang out with cool people all the time. It's great.
Oh. And you know, I gotta say to expand on what you said, Joe, I gotta really agree with you that I'm so grateful for the Twitch community.
Yeah.
Even though this is something I had never even heard of in my life. And when Justin first told me about it, I was totally resistant because I'm old and crotchety and I'm resistant to new things that I don't understand. I don't need it. I'm fine, you know? So I'm really grateful that I gave it a try. And the community has been unbelievable. It's been so amazing. I mean, even before I started doing my own show, you know, I was so present in some of the channels, you know, with Risky Biscuit and Roxy's channel and Tony Smiley and just mainly specifically those guys, that I made so many fantastic friends that I haven't even met in real life yet, but we feel like we know each other and we do genuinely care about each other, like Joe, you know? And it's really fantastic that the world has opened up via the internet.
Especially in a time like this with a fucking pandemic.
Yes.
Man, it's incredible that I not only got to keep in touch with my friends from all over the world this last year, but we got to meet so many new people. So many cool new people. And that's not something that we would have been able to do in the middle of a pandemic. Like, they never have been able to do this during pandemics.
No, yeah, we've talked about that before, where it's like, can you imagine if it was, you know, whatever, 1986 or something like that, like what this would look like? It, or, you know, back in, you know, whatever, the old days, it would be a lot more difficult. And I guess if you didn't know the difference, then, you know, you wouldn't know any better. But I would say that everybody being able to keep in touch with each other in the ways that we have, and being able to share humor as well, like just on the internet, man, people are so fucking funny. People are so
yes, they
funny
are.
that we say that in this house a lot. We'll show each other all this shit, and we're like, people are so funny. Like, it's just cracking us up constantly that in a time of extreme chaos and sadness and loss, and people are insecure about what's going to happen
Yeah, it's
in
a
their
dark
life or in
time
the
right
world.
now.
It's really fucking crazy.
But we still laugh all the time.
Fucking people are so fucking funny.
They
People are still
are.
finding that humor and are able to share it with the use of the internet, and for us to be able to share these things, and somebody in Australia or whatever could see this thing and it brightens their fucking day or whatever. Like, there's no limits anymore. And I grew up with those limitations, and not having those limitations now, I feel like I'm so grateful for it. And having to have a fucking pandemic and this shit happens, and now all of a sudden there's this Twitch community that sounds so like whatever, unless you're part of it, then you get it, you know what it's really like. And me getting to have my own show, starting my own show, it's so cool that I've brought other people in. So like, I'm so grateful for you guys, supporting and watching this show right now. Like, you guys are watching a show that was just like a brainchild that I just was like, I should do this show. Would anybody watch? Whatever. Even if I hope people do, but if they don't, I'm gonna do it anyway, and whatever. I'm not here trying to make it rich.
Well, and you were able to too, having Dusty to make it all like professional and perfect.
Oh, he did such a great
Dusty
job.
did such a good
Such a
job.
great job. Oh yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, Justin, I have a computer and a microphone. What do I do? I don't know what to do. And he's just like, okay.
Yeah, if we were left to our own
start
vices,
here.
it would be like it's 2021, and if I had to help you, we would be setting up like a choppy 90s looking YouTube channel that was like,
Oh yeah, no,
ta-da!
it'd be totally shitty. It'd be totally shitty. Oh, let's see what else Joe says. I'm also grateful that I threw my inhibitions aside and colored my hair purple this past year.
Yeah,
I
yay
got
for
to explore
color.
different hair colors. That's so awesome. Big fan. And then I'm also grateful I am exploring my witchy side this year, which has expanded my experiences and understanding of the world. I guess I am grateful for so much. I am so happy to hear that. That made my heart swell.
Yeah, it's that
Hearing you
perspective.
say that. That's
It's
fantastic. This is great. Everybody's been growing, at least us in this, digital room right now. Like, I feel like we have all been working on ourselves and becoming better versions of ourselves. And I know that, this pandemic has affected everybody differently. And a lot of people were really terrified and didn't know how to handle it productively. And a lot of people have had mental health issues and, really a lot of struggles. And maybe they weren't able to pull out as much as we have. And I have a lot of compassion for those people. But I will say that those of us that were able, I guess, to grow and be better, like, I'm impressed to see what a lot of us have done to a lot of people and how people have
It definitely makes you see your privilege. Like, I feel so privileged to be in this situation, especially with you guys in this household. We got to eat fondue in the middle of this. Like, we got to do a lot of cool stuff, and like,
we did.
My heart breaks for all of my friends and close friends that couldn't, like, some of them didn't make it, and like, some of them are teetering, and it's really sad, and that compassion and empathy is totally there. But I'm very proud of all of the individuals that have been able to have it work out in their favor to where they could do stuff. Because even some of the greatest people that I know weren't able to do it for reasonable and, like, real reasons.
Yeah.
And I don't judge anybody for that at all, because I feel really fortunate. We've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, and we had the three of us together here in this house, which this house is filled with so much fun. Mm-hmm. There's so many fun things that we have in this house. And I'm glad that if we were going to be stuck anywhere, we were stuck in a fucking fun house, in an artsy fun house with each other who were all fun.
You know how many hours we played with Bubbles this year? A lot. Like, a lot of hours. Like, probably like a week's worth of hours, honestly. Which is like the fucking funnest thing ever.
Especially on acid, that shit.
Talk about best day
crazy.
of my life.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And in the midst of all this craziness, everything was fucking nuts. Like, we decided to go all out for Christmas. which we,
Oh, dude.
we'll decorate a little bit for Christmas usually.
The shit out of this house.
We really did. Because we were like, okay, every day's the same. We're just stuck in this house. We're going to do all the Christmas. We're going to make it super Christmassy. And for weeks, we watched every Christmas movie pretty much. We watched so many Christmas movies. We still got the big tree. Not super big, but we got a tree and we decorated it, and we totally I made a paper chain. I know you guys can't see the size of the room, but I made this paper chain. Like, it was a long ass paper chain. It was super fun. I'd never made one since I was a kid or something. And it was so fun. It was really, really fun. Like, we made the best out of it. For sure. Yeah, just because Dusty says because we missed every other holiday.
We did. It was like, I guess Halloween is next week. I guess Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Fuck.
Oh man. Yeah, we made snowflakes and hung them from the ceiling too. We did a lot of fun stuff, and I feel like that was really good because it was like, okay, well, at least we're gonna bring in like happy cheer in the middle of the pandemic. Okay, we're gonna be cheery, and we did. We made it so cheery.
We did.
And then I have to say, my favorite movie, I think, there was a couple good ones that we watched.
Gonna roll his eyes.
Dude. Santa Jaws.
Yeah, dude. That
And
was
then
one of my
Santa
favorites.
Paws also was very cute. So there's all these like cheeseball movies popped up on Netflix.
If you guys like cheesy B movies, Santa Jaws is worth a go.
Oh my God, Santa Jaws was awesome.
It's terribly.
Dude, he has
amazing.
a little jingle bell. And he had Christmas lights on him, and when he's coming, instead of like dun 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 dun, it's like tinka tinka tinka, so you can hear the fucking bells coming. Oh my God, it's so funny. It was so funny. I thought it was great. I had a fantastic time watching that. It was really great. So, we made it the best out of it, and it was whatever. You even admitted it was not that bad. Dusty did not want to watch Santa Claus. There was all these stupid animal movies that came out this year that were crisp. I don't even know. I've never even seen anything like it. On Netflix, it was like all of these Christmas animal, like kid kind of movies, and I was like, why is there like 70 of these movies? I don't understand. We have to watch one. We're gonna watch one. Santa Paws. We're gonna watch Santa Paws.
It was just cute little puppies.
And she was like,
around.
I'll watch it with you. And Dusty's like, oh my God, it looks so stupid. And I was like, no, we're doing it. And Dusty was upstairs doing something, and I was like, Tayvia, now's the chance. He's upstairs. Do you want to watch Santa Paws? And she was like, let's do it. And you know what? It was totally not as stupid as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be so fucking stupid.
Called it.
It was cute. And it had Clemmy from Reno 911 in it, which was awesome. And it was just like a cute, heartwarming little story, Like, it was fun. It looks so stupid.
Well,
yeah, he thought. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be like a top notch, like.
No, but I understand the thing that like I just want to watch puppies running around. That's what will make me feel better. Like, I got it, you know.
But
even
it wasn't
if it was
even
stupid.
Just puppies
no,
running.
it was. Pretty
It was
cute.
totally a cute story, and like Santa comes down, and then he gets amnesia or whatever, and he ends up being the Santa at this little store or whatever. And there's these like orphans, and it was just like a heartwarming, cute story.
Like the little
honestly,
Orphan Annie of Christmas dogs.
And her voice, this little girl's voice,
she had the
was
cutest
like
little
the
voice.
cutest, tiniest thing I've ever
We
heard.
girled out. Poor Dusty, the only boy in the household's like, oh, why do you make me do these things? And we're like, we're sorry.
But then he came down, like, I don't know, halfway through or whatever. He's like, what are you watching? We're like, Santa Paws. And he's like, motherfucker. We watched all of it, and I was like, honestly, it's not as stupid as I thought it was going to be. And I was ready for it to be real dumb. But I just wanted to watch one of them. I'm like, I don't even know what any of this is.
It was only to make people joy cry.
No, it was cute. And it was just,
It was like give you a cavity and you have to go to the dentist the next day. Yeah.
But then the fucking bitchy lady that was like the Miss Hannigan, basically, like she was the worst. That was Clemmy. She was the worst. But like, I don't know. I'm just saying it was cute, and we just tried to make the best out of the holiday because everything else got totally failed. Everything failed really bad last year, so we just rolled with it, and it ended up being really fun. So I'm glad that we were stuck in this house in Elf Christmas Land.
Yeah.
Together.
It was fun. It was pretty fun.
That was great.
And then snowing, when it started snowing, we walked around the street and we just sang Christmas carols at the top of our lungs, walking through our neighborhoods, playing in the snow, which was magical. Some of the biggest snowflakes I've ever seen in my entire life. It was so good.
They were like giant snow poofs, and we were the most excited people ever. We got out of the house, which was really good because we need to get the fuck out of the house. And we were just like walking around the streets, and I put Christmas music on my phone, and we were just like dancing around the streets. And it snowed a lot really fast. It was actually kind of crazy. Like, we didn't even know that it was snowing. I think we did like the three of us did a group ritual together. And then all of a sudden, we didn't even know it was going to be snowing. And as soon as we were done doing the ritual, Dusty's like, I think it's snowing outside.
Yep,
we're like,
snowed,
what?
And then we fucking didn't think it was going to stick either because it was melting on the road at first. And then it started sticking to everything. And it like
so
built
hard.
up really fast.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was cool.
It was really fun, though. It was very, very nice.
Yeah, and that little girl, as we were walking around singing Merry Christmas and fucking doing the whole thing, and the little girl that's like, Merry Christmas! And we're like, hooray! Everyone's so excited it's snowing. It was great. It was so fun.
So, you know what? Even though it was a fucked up pandemic and it was not good in a lot of ways, there's a lot of really good that came from it. And I think us being so, such happy people and being able to just find happiness in anything that we do really helped. Those Christmas cookies we made, we had so much fun. We had so much fun doing it. It's great. Life is good.
Yeah.
Life is
Look
good.
at us being grateful.
Yes. And I'm grateful for you guys. So. We did talk about other realms. This is the beyond part. We went beyond.
Yeah. We'd had ghosts in other realms for like 2 hours, and now
we're talking
the
gratitude.
last 2 hours we're talking gratitude.
Even though we're talking about Christmas specifically, we're talking about the gratitude during this crazy
Shut up, Dusty.
time.
We're doing the job.
I know. Well, on that note, I think we should go eat some ice cream that we're so grateful for.
Okay.
We should do that. We missed the ghost stuff.
You did. It's okay. You can watch it, though.
Do you have any other ghost stories you want to tell? Any other stuff?
Not necessarily. I got derailed. Like a Christmas train.
Yeah.
Amnesia Santa over here.
Oh, man. No, it's fun. When we were deciding what we're going to go into, I'm like, yeah, we'll talk about all this stuff, but it's we know what's going to happen. It's just
That's the thing, too, is there was no plan about this. It was like, Tayvia, you want to come on in 2 days and, talk about some things, and here's some ideas. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, spooky stuff and all of that.
You can't say you're not having fun.
Nope.
I can't anyway.
But you know what's really cool is Joe and me and Tayvia are going to be taking a class. It's an online class that's called The Art of Death. It's an Atlas Obscura class. And Joe, by the way, you need to see if you can get in the November class with us. So we are going to be taking this class, and then after the class is done, I want to say it's 6 sessions, I believe, 4 or 6 sessions, but we are going to have Joe on, and then the 3 of us will share what we learned from this class, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I could not switch classes, sadly.
You can't switch it? Fuck. They wouldn't let you switch it. Damn it. What did you change it to?
It doesn't tell us.
Sami and Tayvia discuss ghosts for 15 minutes, and then it cuts it off. I can't even read the whole thing. Oh, and then it derail into everything else.
Yeah. Well.
Talked about nature of consciousness, aliens. We talked about
all about the universe and space.
Universe.
Ancient history with humans, archaeology.
Yeah, traveling.
Santa
That's a little of everything. Everything.
That's what it should be called, Dusty. A little bit of everything.
Oh my goodness. Well, Joe, I'm so sorry that you could not switch classes. I didn't even know that there was more classes. I think they added them on after. And I just got signed up for it because I was like, hi, I'm unemployed. And I was wondering if we could split it and do it together. And they said, unfortunately, we cannot. So she put me on a list for a free ticket, and I got a free ticket for the November class. So I didn't really have a choice in that one. I wish I could have afforded to do the other one, but free is better, especially because it's a $225 class. But point is, it's the art of death, and we will come back after that class.
Yes,
and we will talk about.
I'm really excited about that.
That's going to be really, really cool.
It'll be cool, and that's kind of what we were leaning into getting into perhaps tonight too. But I think it's going to be cool to save for like a good long talk specifically about death.
That's true, because then we'd just be reiterating a lot of things. So I think that
yeah,
that makes sense, because we both have a lot of thoughts on that subject for sure. I have a part 2 of paranormal research for mediums with Cindy coming. Oh, cool! That's awesome. I cannot wait to hear how that goes. Actually, I'm really excited about that. Maybe you can come on and tell us all about that afterwards. If you want to come back on the show, that would be super cool. We would love to have you. You can come on anytime, Joe. We love you. You're the coolest. Come visit us. Will you come visit us, please? Please. Maybe not during a Delta spike, but like later.
Too boring.
Whatever, it's not too boring. Fuck you. Fuck you for saying you're boring all the time. Goddamn Joe. He'll never stop. No, you're so fucking interesting. Well, shit. Well, cool. So it sounds like we're down to just a few viewers. But I had a great time. I'm really glad that you wanted to come on and hang out.
Yeah.
And chat with me.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening too, you guys. It was a fun conversation, even though there was only a few of us. I'm glad that it was pretty intimate, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. That's really nice. So, I mean, we could just talk forever. Like, when me and Justin did our thing out in Atlanta, we did, I think it was like 5.5 hours or something. And then we're like, okay. And then we shut it down, and we ended up talking about shit for so many more hours. And he's like, we just could have literally just kept the camera rolling because we're still talking. It was so funny. Like, yeah, I know that we could just go forever, but I don't know. No need to drag it through the mud.
No, don't need to make everybody wait for us.
Nope.
Good.
No, we went
I feel like it was productive, and I appreciate all the input and stuff. And it's cool because a lot of the people here have very similar perspectives on things too. So even though it would have been cool to also have that like contradicting side, I felt like everyone was on the same page, and it was easy to continue to move through conversation without too much explanation, which I really thought was cool. It's what made it really intimate, where it was like, oh, like I get you, like everyone got it, you know. It was cool.
Yeah, I know. So, I totally agree. Oh, good. I'm glad you want to come out, Joe. Please come out. Come and visit us.
You can stay in the horrors room.
Yeah, you can stay in the horror room.
Sorry.
The horrors room.
Just pulling a Rob.
Totally. All right. Well, let's see. Who are we going to raid tonight? Let's see. Who is on right now? Is anybody fun on? Let's just see about this here.
It's the horror room. It's all horror themed.
Yeah,
we just have a friend that calls it the horror room, so.
Yes. Wait, what? Yeah, you get a free whore with every stay here. What's that?
Same one though, so just keep
horror room. Okay.
Horror room.
Yes. So let's see, who should we raid? I'm looking. There's some gamers, and we don't care about that. Not to be a dick, but we don't. Oh, singing and live improv ventriloquism.
Dude, that sounds fucking awesome.
And she's got ghosts and skeletons in the background.
See,
Captain
perfect. She
Jen
can do the ghost stuff for us that we did 15 minutes of.
And I'm like, you got any more ghost stories? Like, no. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's just talk about Santa Claus instead. It's great. Okay, so yeah, what if we do let's do Captain Jen E, babe. You're the raid captain today since Roxy's not here.
Oh, big
Roxy's
shoes to fill.
Oh, Joe, I don't know if you noticed too. Oh, you don't have one. Damn. I was going to tell you about the little ghost icon, our little subscriber ghost icon that Dusty made. I don't know if you've been in since he made it. I was going to say you have a ghost, but you don't have a ghost. Psh, not a ghost. But it's cute. Okay. Well, it's a chick. Captain Jen _E. I have no idea what's going to happen, but it could be
Captain
cool.
Jen, JEN_E, and Captain Jen is one word. And the E is capital at the end.
I think your subscription ran out, Joe. And I'm not saying this to, like, get you to resubscribe. I was just noticing that you don't have a ghost. But yeah, Tayvia, too. Tavia's subscription ran out, too. But that's okay. You can look at Dusty's ghost. It's totally fine.
Okay, Dusty's gonna raid you guys, but we love you.
Hey. So you guys stay tuned for improv ventriloquism.
Yeah,
And
it sounds
singing?
awesome. It sounds so awesome. If
I
you
have
want to
no
see puppets
idea.
and voices and music, fucking apparently this is
Which I
where you
think
go.
sounds fucking hilarious, personally. So yeah, we're gonna say there's no promises. Last time we rated Poop Witch. You were here for that one, the Poop Witch X, and it was pretty fun. So thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate you guys being here. We love you.
We'll
We
see you
are
next
grateful
time.
for you, and we'll have more fun stories in the future. So get your raid pants on, because we're raid pants, raiding shoes, or something. We should have those. All right, thank you, darling. There we go. Bye, guys. We'll talk to you soon. All right, stop.